Chapter 21. Luti looked at Barbitch and subtly reminded her, "Barbitch, is that you? The last time with the neck worms. It seems you didn't feel it was enough. Did you?" Barbitch recalled the sensation of the worms gnawing down to her bones and shuddered. Not daring to say another word, Luti turned to Barca and asked, "I've collected the soil exactly as you instructed. Mother, if there's anything I've done wrong, please point it out so I can learn." Barca pointed at the vat and glared, saying, "The soil from the coffin base was meant for me to perform the ritual to refine the wormwood. Look at the mess you've caused." Luti cautiously stepped toward the vat, squinting to inspect it closely. She noticed the wormwood had started to turn yellow and wilt. She could no longer sense the yin energy from it either. This meant someone had stolen the wormwood's essence. Its body remained, but its soul was dead. "How do you plan to explain this to me?" Luti plucked a wormwood leaf, and the moment she did, it turned to ash. She brought it to her nose, sniffed carefully, then looked at Barca and concluded, "This wormwood has been tampered with. Someone used sulfur powder as a catalyst to draw out its soul." Barca had intended to use this opportunity to vent her anger on Luti, but she hadn't expected the girl to have grown so capable in such a short time. Narrowing her eyes, Barca asked, "Are you saying it wasn't you who deliberately added sulfur to ruin my plans?" Luti met Barca's gaze steadily and replied with confidence, "I handed the soil to you. Mother, if anything went wrong, wouldn't all the blame fall on me anyway? I ask you to investigate carefully so we don't let the real culprit slip by." "Well said. Well said. You're getting sharper every day. The soil came from you. So I'll give you 3 days to find the mastermind behind this. If you fail, you'll bear the blame. Then please grant me full authority over the household for these 3 days." "Mother." With Luti pushing the matter this far, Barca couldn't refuse. "Fine. You have 3 days? If you can't find the culprit, it'll be you who takes the fall. Don't even dream that Ca will save you then." Barca flung her sleeve and stormed off, leaving Luti alone with her thoughts. Luti's back was drenched in sweat. She had only been pretending to stay calm, she hadn't yet figured out a solution. Barbitch was the most likely suspect. She disliked Luti, and had the most access to the family crypt. But on the day Luti handed the soil to Barca, Barbitch had been under punishment. If she had acted, it could only have been in the past few days. If it really was Barbitch, how could Luti find evidence to pin her down? Then there was Ty, the boy who had taken the soil from Luti to Barca. She couldn't rule out the possibility that someone had bribed him to frame her. The little boy appeared again, floating in midair, smirking triumphantly. "I told you. Your days are numbered." Luti ignored him and called over a group of servants, ordering them to carry the vat to Nam to prevent anyone from destroying evidence. Konchan saw Luti bringing the strange sealed vat into the courtyard and found it odd. She asked, "What's inside this?" "Mo. Keep an eye on it for me. Don't let anyone get close or open it." "Got it." Luti didn't answer Konchan's question. Some things were better left unknown. Telling her too much might only harm her. She went inside, grabbed a red talisman, and affixed it to the vat's lid. She had only recently learned to draw this talisman, known as a guarding charm. If anyone else touched it, the talisman would lash out and knock them back. Once done, Luti turned to Konchan and warned, "Remember, don't touch the vat." Con-chan nodded obediently. She could sense that Mao's words carried an increasing authority that compelled others to listen. I heard Ba Lon has temporarily handed over control of the household to you. Mo. You're amazing. Lu Ti hadn't expected Ba Xie to spread the news so quickly. She nodded and said, yes. I'll be very busy for a while. I need your help. Keep a close watch on this vat for me. Con-chan grabbed Lu Ti's arm affectionately and giggled, yes. Mo Xie. My fate's tied to yours, where you point. I'll strike. Suddenly, Lu Ti noticed something and glanced toward Bao Tu's room, asking, have you noticed anything strange around Bao Tu lately? Con-chan thought for a moment, then shook her head, no. Mo. For the past week, Mo Bao Tu has stayed in her room recovering. If anything's unusual, it's probably that she's furious about you taking charge, might make her eyes pop with rage. Lu Ti nodded at this, instructed Con-chan to guard the vat, and headed to Tang Thursday CAC to find books. Fortunately, the previous week, she had skimmed through texts on refining wormwood and stealing it from others, which was how she'd recognized the sulfur earlier. While gathering soil with Ba Mai, she'd encountered sulfur powder before, so a single sniff of the wormwood leaf had tipped her off to the sabotage. She decided to search for more books on charms and wormwood to uncover additional clues. Tang Thursday CAC of the Ho family was nearly deserted. Outsiders were forbidden from entering, only Ho family descendants could step inside. As the saying went, to gauge a clan's prosperity, look at the books it keeps. Lu Ti gazed at the endless rows of neatly arranged books. She knew she couldn't read them all in a lifetime. A testament to the Ho family's deep foundations. The more she saw, the more she wondered, was the Ho family truly just the wealthiest clan in Lang province? Luckily, the books were organized by topic with clear labels, so Lu Ti quickly found what she needed. The problem was they were too high for her to reach. Even on tiptoe she was about to fetch someone for help when a warm, deep voice sounded behind her, let me assist you. Lu Ti turned, startled, and saw a face strikingly similar to Cao Xie's, about 8 parts alike, but softer and gentler in its features. If this wasn't Cao Ba Ho Kang of the Ho family, then who could it be? Thank you for the trouble. Lu Ti stepped aside as Cao Ba retrieved the book. Since marrying into the Ho family, this was her first real interaction with Cao Ba. The previous encounter didn't count, as it had been Cao Xie possessing his body. No need to be polite, sister-in-law. It's just a small favor. You read these kinds of books too. Is this the one you wanted? Cao Ba handed her the book. Lu Ti took it with both hands and smiled, thank you. Cao Ba. Are you interested in these books too? It's so late. And you're still here. Cao Ba shook his head, not me. Lately, it's Ha-Chi who's been interested. I'm just picking them up for her. As Lu Ti prepared to leave, Cao Ba grabbed her wrist and said, Lu Ti. About last time. I'm sorry. Seeing her confused look, he scratched his head and explained, that night I came to your room and compromised your honor. That had been the night Cao Xie possessed Cao Ba's body. Lu Ti hadn't expected Ho Kang to retain memories of it. Thinking back to that awkward moment, she pulled her hand away, turned to leave, and struggled to find a response. Though she knew it was Cao Xie's soul in control, it was still Cao Ba's body. She took a deep breath, steadied herself, and turned back. That was Cao Xie possessing you. It's in the past, don't dwell on it. Kalbar. All right? If you ever face trouble, come find me. Kalbar's appearance threw Luti's thoughts into disarray. By the time she returned to Nam Vien, it was 11 o'clock. Autumn was approaching, and the night breeze carried a chill. Konchan sat on a wooden stool near the vat, dozing off with her hands propped on her knees. Luti felt a pang of pity. Gently shaking her awake, Chan. Chan? Wake up and go sleep inside. I'll keep watch tonight, tomorrow you can take over. Mo. You're back. Konchan rubbed sleepy eyes. Luti was about to grab a coat to ward off the cold when suddenly the vat burst into flames. She didn't know where the fire came from. But before she could react, red flames engulfed the vat's rim. Luti remembered that sulfur could ignite. She quickly grabbed Konchan's hand, pulling her into the room and shutting the door. Boom! A deafening explosion rang out. Luti's ears ached from the blast, but she sighed in relief. Her quick thinking had saved them both from certain death. Hearing the commotion, everyone in the household rushed to Nam Vien. Barbich arrived first. Seeing the exploded vat, and the severed clues, she thought Mo Cie was finished, no longer holding back. She sneered at Luti. Mo Cie, you're quite something. Good thing you're unharmed. Or we might have thought you set yourself on fire out of guilt. Luti stepped slowly toward Barbich, raised her hand, and delivered a stinging slap. Sternly, she said, guilt and suicide. Who gave a servant like you the right to slander your master? Barbich glared, unable to believe Luti dared strike her publicly. But under Luti's icy stare, she could only bow her head. The other servants, witnessing this, grew even more wary of Mo Cie, standing silently, afraid to gossip. Sister-in-law, are you all right? Kalbar rushed over, seeing the charred vat and asking worriedly, sister-in-law, are you hurt? Luti shook her head. Thank you for checking, I'm fine. More people gathered. The whole household was a tangled web of snakes and dragons, with no one fully trustworthy. Luti ordered Konchan to send everyone away. After tonight, only 2 days remained, and the most crucial evidence was destroyed. Time was running out. She needed quiet to think things through carefully. Chapter 22. Hachi ran after Kalbar. From a distance, she saw her husband whispering something to Luti, and jealousy surged within her. Still, she restrained herself, grabbing Kalbar's arm and asking affectionately, it's so late, aren't you afraid of catching a cold wandering out here? Autumn's almost here. Come back with me to rest. All right? Kalbar pulled his arm free, clearly displeased, and said, the courtyard at sister-in-law's place just caught fire like this, and you can't even spare a word of concern. Hearing this, Hachi burst into tears. Feeling wronged, in the middle of the night, hearing Nam Vien was on fire, you rushed out without even putting on your shoes. I was worried about you. How could I think of anything else? As a fellow woman, Luti understood where Hachi's hostility toward her came from. If she were in Hachi's shoes with her husband in another woman's room late at night, who could stay calm? Besides, Hachi hadn't done anything to harm her yet. Thank you both for your concern. Kalbar, listen to your wife and go rest early. I can handle things at Nam Vien myself. Kalbar was still uneasy. Before leaving, he carefully instructed Luti, be careful then. If anything happens, call for help right away. And remember what I said earlier tonight. His last sentence was spoken so softly it was almost inaudible. Lu Ti froze for a moment. Did Cao Ba mean she should seek him out if she needed help? Cao Ba and Mo Ba left. And the others who had come to gawk at the commotion gradually returned to their rooms. In an instant, the bustling courtyard was left with only Lu Ti, Con-chan, and the servants cleaning up. Con-chan knelt down, sobbing tearfully, "It's my fault for not keeping watch properly. I've let you down. Mo. Punish me however you want, just please don't send me away." Seeing Con-chan cry, her small face streaked with tears, Lu Ti felt a pang of sympathy. But recalling Cao's warning not to trust anyone in this household, she hesitated, unsure how to handle Con-chan fairly. "Mo. I wasn't slacking off or sneaking away to sleep. I was waiting for you to come back. But suddenly I felt so drowsy and fell asleep without realizing it." Lu Ti nodded and said, "Since I first arrived in this household, I've only had the hollow title of Mao Xie. The servants and maids here all looked down on me. You were the only one who didn't scorn me and stayed by my side, helping me so much. I truly value your loyalty and have entrusted you with many tasks. But today's incident was serious. You made a mistake. I need to enforce clear rewards and punishments, so the other servants take note." Con-chan clung to Lu Ti's legs, pleading, "I've been an orphan since I was little, with nowhere to go. Please don't send me away. Now I know you care for me the most." Lu Ti nodded in agreement, until the matter was resolved. She couldn't keep Con-chan as her close maid anymore. "What's your name?" The maid sweeping the courtyard heard Lu Ti call her and quickly knelt, reporting to Mo Xie, "My name is Lin. For the next few days, you'll take over managing tasks at Nam Vien in place of Chan." Con Lin couldn't believe she'd suddenly earned Mao's trust. She hurriedly thanked Lu Ti. "Yes, Mo. I promise I won't disappoint you. As for Chan, for now, you'll handle laundry and kitchen duties. Both of you go to rest now. The courtyard can be cleaned up tomorrow morning." After giving her instructions, Lu Ti went to bed. The night's events had left her exhausted, her strength completely drained. As she rested her head on her arm, she pondered. She'd assigned tasks to Con Lin for two reasons. First, if Con-chan had truly betrayed her, it was better to be cautious. Second, if Con-chan was loyal, keeping her at a distance was a way to protect her. Thinking back to the exploding vat earlier, Lu Ti grew more frightened. If she'd returned just a bit later, would Con-chan have survived? She didn't want to drag her into danger. That night, Lu Ti slept fitfully, plagued by nightmares. In her dreams, she heard wails and curses directed at her. A pair of sharp, snake-like eyes belonging to a vampire stared at her relentlessly, its venomous voice hissing, "I curse you to be forsaken by your kin, abandoned by your husband, childless, and alone until death." Then it lunged, its long, sharp claws piercing her throat. Lu Ti fought back, grabbing its neck with strength she didn't know she had. She snapped its neck with a twist. The scent of fresh blood excited her, and just as she was about to drink, she jolted awake, her thin blanket soaked with sweat. Lu Ti curled up on her side, clutching the blanket tightly. The dream felt like an omen, leaving her restless, and unable to fall back asleep. The curse echoed in her mind, growing more haunting. She was terrified of being abandoned by her mother and cow. It had taken so much for her to earn even a sliver of their affection. She didn't want to be alone again. Determined, Lu Ti sat up, walked to the tea table, and lit an oil lamp to read. The book was old, its cover worn and frayed, suggesting it dated back centuries. According to the text, charms and wormwood were mystical spiritual practices that had existed for about 8,000 years in the Atlantis civilization, predating modern times. Shamans and sorcerers used them in prayers. As eras passed, spiritual energy dwindled, severely limiting cultivation practices. Each religion and ethnicity possessed its own unique mysticism. In their country, many forms of mysticism had either emerged naturally or been imported, such as the Nam Tong lineage from India, Thailand, Myanmar, and Cambodia, the Tien Dao lineage from China and Tibet, or the distinct practices of northern mountain tribes. Each had its strengths and weaknesses. These arts weren't inherently good or evil. Only the user determined their purpose. The author noted a small warning: when nurturing wormwood, it should be kept in a secretive place. If others discovered it, its soul could easily be stolen, rendering it useless. Barcia had been meticulous, hiding her wormwood in the family crypt, so it was unlikely an outsider had taken it. It had to be someone inside the household, someone with enough status to access the crypt and steal its soul. Suddenly, Lu Ti recalled what Cao Ba had said at Tang Thursday CAC. Hachi was also reading books on charms and wormwood. Could there really be such a coincidence? Even if it was Hachi, the vat was destroyed. Where could Lu Ti find evidence to expose her now? She couldn't just send people to rummage through back VN, where Hachi lived, without cause. That would only alert Hachi, who might have already hidden the remaining sulfur powder elsewhere. 2 days weren't enough to search every corner of the sprawling Ho estate. A bold idea flashed in Lu Ti's mind. She closed the book, a faint smile forming. If it truly was Hachi, she'd surely slip up eventually. The next morning, Conleen brought tea and pastries into the room. Seeing Lu Ti packing a bag, she asked, "Are you heading out?" Mo. Lu Ti nodded, "Yes. I'm going to buy a few things. Set them on the table. I'll eat breakfast and head out." Conleen placed the items down and turned to flatter her earnestly. "What are you buying?" Mo. "Whatever you need. Just tell me. You're so busy managing the household now. Why tire yourself of going out? Even now." Conleen couldn't believe she'd become Mao's close maid. Overjoyed, she tried every way to win Lu Ti's favor. "No need. Just stay here and handle everything at Nam Vien properly." Conleen, perceptive, took a step back and murmured, "Yes. Mo. If you need anything, just call me. Enjoy your breakfast." Lu Ti nodded without replying. She sat down to eat, rested briefly, then headed to the market. She sought out a well-known northern medicine shop at Dong Market, which sold both medicinal herbs and dried animals and insects for remedies. "Shopkeeper, do you sell snakes here?" The owner found it odd that a young woman came in asking for snakes but still inquired, "Cobras for medicinal wine for your husband. What kind do you need? How many?" Lu Ti shook her head, smiling, "Not dried snakes for medicine, I mean live ones. Do you have any?" The shopkeeper hesitated, glanced around, then asked quietly, "What do you need live snakes for, miss?" Lu Ti knew he feared she'd use them to harm someone, implicating his shop if authorities investigated. She explained, "Don't worry. I'm not using them to hurt anyone. Please remove their venom for me too. Once it's done, I'll pay you well." She smiled at him and added, "There's a concubine at home who doesn't know her place. I just want to scare her a bit." The shopkeeper, understanding her plight, stroked his mustache knowingly. "I don't have live ones in stock, but I have connections. I can get you as many as you want. Can you get me a dozen snakes by noon today?" Seeing a big order, the shopkeeper thumped his chest confidently, "Of course. I'm Lao Nu, famous in this village. No need to worry. And since you're a lady, I'll even deliver them to your home." Lu Ti placed 2 silver ingots on the table. The heavy clink of silver lit up the shopkeeper's eyes. She added, "I'll wait here. There'll be extra reward once it's done. Just one more thing, put all the snakes in a vat and seal it tightly." Chapter 23. The shopkeeper beamed with enthusiasm. "This is a simple matter. I'll go fetch the snakes for you right now." Before leaving, he called into the house, "Thao, where are you? Come out and mind the shop for me." He then told Lu Ti that if she wanted to buy anything else, she could ask his daughter, who was well versed in medicinal ingredients, and would assist her eagerly. Lu Ti nodded in acknowledgement to the shopkeeper. She had guessed correctly. Northern medicine shops like this one surely sold live snakes, though they kept it discreet since it was forbidden by the court. While waiting for the shopkeeper to return, Lu Ti chatted with his daughter to pass the time. The girl, about the same age as Con Chan, seemed very sharp and lively. "Can you really distinguish all the medicines in the shop?" "Yes. Downstairs, we display dried insects and small animals for soaking in wine or making remedies. If you want herbs, you can go up to the 2nd floor. Our family has exclusive sources other shops might not have. What we do, sister." Lu Ti grew curious as the girl explained. With nothing else to do, she stepped up to the 2nd floor to take a look. Sure enough, it was even more impressive than the 1st floor, with herbs packed tightly into small drawers. Lu Ti wandered around, wondering if she'd find anything interesting. As she passed a certain counter, a familiar scent caught her attention. The same fragrance she'd noticed on the pill from when she went to collect soil. She quickly pointed at the bundle and asked, "What's this, little sister?" Con Thao opened the drawer and unwrapped the bundle for Lu Ti to see. The closer Lu Ti sniffed, the more certain she became that it was the same scent from that day. "This is poppy resin, sister. It's extracted from poppies in the northwestern forests. It's worth more than gold. We only get a few ounces a year. This is the last of this year's purple poppy resin." Lu Ti grabbed Con Thao's hand and asked, "Is your shop the only one in the village that sells it? I can guarantee no more than 3 shops in the whole province carry it. Yellow and white poppy resin are more common, but this purple kind is super rare." "Sister, that rare? What does it do?" Seeing Con Thao hesitate, Lu Ti slipped a silver ingot into her palm, encouraging her, "Go ahead and tell me. I promise I'll keep it a secret. No one will hear it from me." True to her father's nature, the silver lit up Con Thao's eyes, and she eagerly explained, "Poppy resin is rare because it's a banned substance. Anyone caught growing it gets hauled off by the authorities in no time. It's a medicinal flower. Small doses of yellow or white poppies can relieve pain and treat illnesses. But, too much? Or if you mess with the purple kind, it's dangerous. It causes hallucinations. Strips away reason. People lose themselves completely. Sister. Hearing this, Luti pieced together the plot against her. Someone had laced the pill Barcia gave her with poppy resin, planning for her to ingest it, fall into a hallucination, and lose control? While she was overtaken by delirium, the workers would take advantage of her vulnerability and disgrace her. In Baksun village, the custom was harsh. A married woman caught with another man would be locked in a pig cage and set adrift on the river dying without peace, doomed to wander as a wild ghost underwater. Whoever devised this was ruthless, leaving Luti no way out. But human schemes can't outmatch fate. Luckily, Luti had dropped the pill by accident. A catfish ate it, and went berserk. And then Launyut got infected by its toxic blood, losing his humanity and slaughtering his own comrades. Has anyone bought poppy resin from your shop recently? Konthao fell silent for a moment before replying, that's tied to our family's business. So I can't say. All I can tell you, sister, is that it was a woman? Luti knew pressing further would be pointless. She nodded, bought a few more herbs as thanks to Konthao, and let it go. True to his word, the shopkeeper returned at noon with another man, carrying a large, tightly sealed vat. He offered to open it for Luti to check, but she declined because she could already smell the pungent odor of snake skin wafting from it. No need to waste time inspecting. At noon, the whole household servants saw Mosia return from the market, followed by two men carrying a large, covered vat, sparking everyone's curiosity. Luti ordered Conleen to summon Barcia, Kalbar, and Mobar, announcing that she'd found the mastermind behind the theft. Then she commanded every servant and maid in the household to gather at Nam Vien. No exceptions. Anyone who dared skip out would be expelled from the estate. In Nam Vien, there was an empty room. Luti had the vat of snakes carried inside. The servants were made to line up outside, entering one by one when their names were called. When Barcia, Kalbar, and Mobar arrived and saw all the household staff gathered in the courtyard, they found it odd, wondering what grand spectacle Luti was staging. Entering the room, they saw her standing beside the large vat. Hachi spoke first, Mother. Cow and I were napping. What's the meaning of calling us here? Luti smiled, her eyes gleaming with an alluring intensity that drew attention. Confidently, she said, of course. It's to catch the thief who stole from Mother. Once you know who tampered with your wormwood's soul, you'd skin them alive. Wouldn't you, Mother? Hachi felt uneasy under Luti's mocking gaze, wondering if she'd been found out. But she'd destroyed all the evidence. Even the leftover sulfur powder had been dumped into the river by Konnang. Reassured? Hachi smirked, don't tell me you're planning to find the thief with that vat. Sister-in-law. Luti nodded, exactly. With your permission. Mother. I'll begin now. Please stay and bear witness for me. Even Barcia was intrigued, eager to see how Luti would catch the culprit. She sat on a bamboo chair Luti had prepared for her and replied, fine. Let's see how capable you are enough to make Kausia so smitten with you. Just don't turn out to be all talk and no substance. Luti smiled, I only hope when the time comes, Mother will deal harshly with the thief as an example to the servants. Barcia sipped her tea casually from the chair and said, naturally. Luti stepped toward the vat. Speaking as she walked, we'll start with those who could have entered the crypt to steal the wormwood. Bar bitch. Tai. Step forward. Luti didn't call Ding Thang since he'd been away on Barcia's business for over a week and hadn't returned to the estate. Barbich bristled at being suspected but didn't dare defy Luti anymore. Go ahead and have your people check me all you want. I've got nothing to hide. Stand there and wait. Tai. Put your hand in the vat. Tai thought it'd be something serious. But this seemed simple enough. He approached the vat, bent down to reach in, and then saw the wriggling, thrashing snakes inside. Panicking, he stumbled back. Snakes. Snakes? Help, Mosier's trying to kill me. Con Lean. Briefed by Lu Ti earlier. Quickly stuffed a rag in Tai's mouth. He kowtowed, begging for mercy. Lu Ti calmly said, these snakes have been charmed by me. If you're the thief, they'll bite your hand off. If you're innocent, they won't touch you. Though still terrified, Tai had no choice but to risk it. He feared being expelled from the Ho household even more. Despite its eerie reputation, the estate ensured its servants never went hungry or unclothed. And the pay was far higher than elsewhere. Enough to send home and save for a buffalo or a wife later. Tai peeked into the vat again. A cobra had slithered to the rim. Its hood flared, tongue flicking as if ready to spit venom in his face. If this were the old Mosier, Tai wouldn't have cared. But lately, everyone in the household respected her authority. Next to Barlong, her word carried the most weight. And she currently held the reins of the estate. Tai shut his eyes tight and thrust his hand in. Instantly, slimy snakes coiled around his arm, some flicking their tongues, raising goosebumps on his skin. Ah! Tai screamed in fear. Lu Ti, observing closely, saw he wasn't involved in the wormwood theft and said, you can pull your hand out. It's not Tai. Relieved as if pardoned, Tai shook off the creepy snakes and kowtowed in thanks. Lu Ti knew Tai was likely tied to the poppy-laced pill incident. So this served as her warning to him. Your turn. Bar bitch. Having endured the punishment of soaking in neck worms, Bar bitch wasn't fazed by mere snakes. She plunged her hands into the vat without hesitation. The snakes eagerly crawled up both her arms. It's not her. Bar bitch snorted, as if I'd steal from Barlong. Hachi noticed Lu Ti's gaze shift to her and snapped angrily, what are you looking at me for? Do you think everyone's as low-born as you? My family's lineage is noble, how could I steal from mother? Lu Ti smiled. Unfazed, calm down. Mo Bar. I'm not suspecting anyone. Whoever wants to prove their innocence can try. If not... She deliberately left the sentence hanging, smiling even wider at Hachi. Hachi wasn't sure if the snakes could really identify the thief. She suspected Lu Ti was bluffing to trick her into confessing. Your close maid can test it first if you'd like. Hachi's hands, hidden in her sleeves, were drenched in sweat. She forced a calm expression and replied, fine. Nang. Do as Mosier says. Con Nang's face went pale. Hachi quickly explained. Not missing a chance to jab at Lu Ti, she's been afraid of snakes since she was little. This little game of yours is downright cruel. Sister-in-law. Lu Ti kept her smile. You flatter me. Mo Ba. For those who harm me, I repay double. Con Nang knew she had no escape. If she refused, Hachi would punish her entire family. Closing her eyes, her trembling hands slowly reached into the vat. She braced herself. But unexpectedly, the snakes seemed terrified of her. None dared coil around her hands as if she carried some kind of poison. Lu Ti knew the trap had sprung. Clapping her hands, she declared, "Excellent. Someone sees Con Nang. She's the thief." Hachi, stunned and confused, stepped in to stop them. Nang wasn't bitten or maimed by the snakes. Lu Ti smirked, her beautiful eyes mocking Hachi like she was a fool. "I didn't charm the snakes at all." Con Nang gave herself away. "Now it's your turn, Hachi." Chapter 24. What did you say? I said the snakes in the vat aren't charmed at all. Now it's your turn to prove your innocence. Hachi froze in fear, her steps faltering, nearly causing her to collapse. Lu Ti pointed at Barbitch and Tai, who, standing nearby, and continued, "Do you know what snakes fear most? Mo. It's sulfur powder. Barbitch and Tai haven't touched sulfur, so the snakes coiled around their hands. But Con Nang, having handled sulfur before, carried its scent. That's why the snakes avoided her." Hachi stubbornly argued, "Don't slander me. Mother's wormwood was stolen 2 days ago. Even if there was sulfur, it'd have washed off her hands by now. How could it linger this long?" Lu Ti locked eyes with Hachi, speaking firmly, "You wouldn't dare. If sulfur powder touches water, it peels skin and scales, even causing burns. If I'm not mistaken, you sent Con Nang to sneak into Nam Vien last time. Sprinkle sulfur on the vat, and pour wine over it. Didn't you? Everything taken in this household is recorded clearly in the ledgers." With that, Lu Ti signaled Con Lean, who promptly handed the household expense ledger to Barcia. Lu Ti had circled the entry with a brush, making it easy for Barcia to spot. On the evening of the 8th day of the 8th lunar month, Mo Ba had someone take 3 jars of wine. Anticipating Hachi's excuse, Lu Ti cut her off. "Don't say you or Cao Ba drank that night. I've checked the ledgers for months. Neither of you ever touch wine. Plus, that evening, before the wormwood vat exploded, I met Cao Ba at Tang Thursday CAC." Lu Ti stepped closer to Hachi, grabbed her hand, and said, "Now? Let's see who's honest and who's not. Just put your hand in the vat." Only then did Hachi grasp Lu Ti's plan. She thought she'd covered her tracks perfectly, but she'd been caught. The sight of the slimy snakes writhing together repulsed her. Telling her to stick her hand in there was worse than death. "Sister-in-law. I confess. All right. But your cruelty has to have limits. I'm not touching those disgusting things." Lu Ti hadn't expected Hachi to admit guilt so quickly. Smiling, she asked, "You had the heart to harm me. Why lack the guts to face the consequences?" Raised in luxury, Hachi had never been scolded by her parents. This was the first time someone dared lecture her. Furious, she shoved Lu Ti's hand away and shouted, "Isn't this all your fault to begin with? Ever since that night, Cao Ba's been like a soulless shell. I once saw him staring at you from afar, even going to the kitchen to make snacks himself and sending them to Nam Vien. A vixen like you must have done something to my husband. Cao Ba, seated to Bar Ca's right, had been quietly enjoying the drama. Hearing this, he leapt up in anger, rushing to cover Hachi's mouth. Hachi, what nonsense are you spouting? Have I ever mistreated, hit, or yelled at you? Tears streamed down Hachi's face as she looked up into Kaoba's eyes and asked, "But do you love me?" Kaoba stood frozen, unable to answer his wife's question for a long moment. Lu Ti hadn't anticipated this twist. In her memory, she'd only met Kaoba 4 times, first when Cao Ca borrowed his body to return. Second at Tang Thursday CAC where he subtly hinted Hachi was behind the wormwood theft. Third when the vat exploded she'd assumed Hachi's jealousy stemmed from the possession incident. She never imagined. Bar Ca slammed the table, hurling her teacup at Lu Ti, roaring, "Lu Ti, you're something else. I underestimated you." Winning over Cao Ca with one hand while flirting with Kaoba with the other. Ha! Thankfully, the tea had cooled, though it still soaked Lu Ti's hem. Feeling wronged, she protested, "Heaven and earth bear witness I have nothing with Kaoba. My heart belongs only to Cao Ca." Bar Ca sneered, her phoenix eyes piercing Lu Ti, "Only the heavens know your true heart. I knew women as beautiful as you were no good. You don't deserve the title of Mao Ca. Bar bitch. Spread the word, from now on. Lu Ti is demoted to concubine. And Bao Tu takes her place as wife." Lu Ti couldn't believe such a drastic turn could happen in an instant, leaving her no time to react. "Tai. Drag her to soak in that snake vat for 7 days and nights. Guard it closely if anyone dares approach or help her. Report it to me?" Still bitter from earlier, Tai gleefully replied, "Yes." Bar Long. He dashed toward Lu Ti, rope in hand to bind her. But before he could, someone kicked him hard in the stomach. Tai spat blood and collapsed, staring up at the tall man before him. He realized it was none other than the usually gentle Kaoba who couldn't even truss a chicken. No time to wonder. Kaoba spoke, and Lu Ti recognized the voice instantly. It was unmistakably her husband. "Cao Ca? A lowly shrimp like you dares touch my wife." Cao Ca, with Cao Ca there. Lu Ti felt a wave of safety, her strength renewed. Bar Ca didn't care whether the rumors about Lu Ti and Kaoba were true. She felt threatened by Lu Ti's intelligence and cunning. So she'd seized the chance to demote her, lowering her status in the household and letting Bao Tu suppress her. Cao Ca had been away for a week. A perfect opportunity to topple Lu Ti. She hadn't expected the girl's luck to hold out. After dealing with Tai, Cao Ca approached Hachi, gripped her throat tightly, and squinted menacingly, "You jealous? Foolish woman? I'd already arranged with Kaoba he'd lend me his body every so often to do something for my wife." Hachi, dazed and struggling, gasped, "No way. Kaoba never told me." Cao Ca tightened his grip, his voice icy, "Since when do the affairs of us brothers need to be reported to a woman like you? What has Lu Ti done to you that you'd harm her?" Hachi could barely breathe, realizing Cao Ca wouldn't hold back, she could die any moment. Sobbing, she begged, "Please. Cao Ca, I know I was wrong. Spare me this once." Unmoved by her tears, Cao Ca showed no mercy. He hoisted Hachi up like a rag doll, and tossed her into the snake vat. "You harmed my wife first, then played the victim impressive. Today, I'll teach you a lesson." though Hachi had sulfur on her hands. The vat was already cramped with snakes. Adding her made it worse. They went wild. Some coiled tightly around her. Others hissed in her face. A. Snakes? Snakes? Help. Save me. Hachi screamed once before fainting from sheer terror. Barcia, watching from her chair, panicked and rushed to stop Cao. But it was too late. She shouted, "Cao, are you insane? Do you know who she is? She's the daughter of Lord Feng up in the province. He controls many of our connections. If anything happens to her, neither you nor Lu Ti will have peace from me." Cao remained unfazed. He knew the snakes were devenomed and trusted Lu Ti's nature not to kill. This was just a scare to ensure Hachi wouldn't dare harm his wife again. "Don't worry, mother, she won't die." Though furious with Cao, Barcia was more concerned for Hachi's life and barked, "Quick! Get someone to pull Hachi out." While the crowd scrambled over Hachi, Cao calmly approached Lu Ti and asked, "Lu Ti, has anyone hurt you?" Still stunned by his actions, Lu Ti didn't respond before he asked again, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine. Sir? You were amazing." Seeing the admiration and respect in Lu Ti's eyes, Cao's heart swelled with fierce joy. For a man, nothing beat earning his wife's esteem. "But you took a big risk. Weren't you afraid the snakes might kill her?" Cao shook his head confidently, "She won't die. I used just enough force. And you already had the venom removed. Hadn't you?" Then, looking at Lu Ti tenderly, he said, "Go back to your room now. I'll handle things here. Get ready, I'll be staying home for the next few days." Hearing him say home warmed Lu Ti's heart. She nodded gratefully. After a chaotic week, she longed to catch up with her husband. As she prepared to bid Barcia farewell and leave, Cao's voice echoed in her mind, "Get ready tonight. Mentally you still owe me our wedding night." Chapter 25. Lu Ti's face flushed at his words. She silently cursed him for being so shameless, bringing that up during a serious conversation. "Cao, don't be so crude." Cao burst into hearty laughter. The surrounding servants were puzzled by his sudden joy. And even Barcia was taken aback. Her eldest son had always been brooding and stubborn since childhood, rarely smiling. Which was why she favored Cao more. In this matter, Lu Ti has endured great injustice. Besides, mother surely doesn't want that woman to carry the stigma of theft. If you want this held quietly, it's not hard. I think Lu Ti manages the household well. What do you say, mother? Barcia's face turned livid at Cao's blatant threat. Knowing she had no other choice, she swallowed her bitterness, forced a smile, and gave the order, "Bar bitch. Spread the word, from now on. Mosia will have full authority over the household. No one in this room is breathing a word of today's events outside." Lu Ti felt like she'd found fortune amidst misfortune, unexpectedly gaining complete control of the estate. She bowed to thank Barcia. "Your daughter-in-law won't disappoint you, mother. There are still matters at Nam Vien. I'll take my leave first." Barcia's face darkened with displeasure, merely grunting without replying. After Barcia's repeated betrayals, Lu Ti had lost all faith in her. She no longer cared whether Barcia liked or disliked her as long as she did no wrong. Barcia couldn't fault or hinder her. I'll head back first. Cow. As Lu Ti bid Cao Xie farewell and passed by him, she recalled the chaos from that previous night and whispered a warning, "You're not allowed to act recklessly like last time." Got it. That afternoon, Lu Ti couldn't focus on her book. She flipped the pages aimlessly, her mind adrift. Though Cao Xie had explained the situation with Cao Ba, something still felt off as she reflected in her room. She remembered a servant bringing her sweet potato cakes last week for an afternoon snack. She'd assumed it was routine from the kitchen and hadn't thought much of it, never imagining Cao Ba had made them himself. She realized Cao Xie's public claim of making them was just to shield her. He'd been busy all week and couldn't have baked anything. Could Cao Ba genuinely have feelings for her? Was that why Hachi despised her? Initially, Lu Ti hadn't intended to punish Hachi harshly or humiliate her, which was why she'd ordered the vat placed in a closed room, accessible only to trusted individuals. The more she thought, the more her head ached. She didn't know how to resolve this for now. Avoiding Cao Ba seemed best to spare everyone awkwardness. Con-chan? Reinstated by Lu Ti's side, noticed her sitting lost in thought and asked with concern, "Mo, ever since you returned to your room, you seemed down somehow." As she spoke, she set down a tray of food. "This is the second time I've reheated the meal. But you haven't touched it." Lu Ti sighed, picked up her bowl, and forced herself to finish dinner. Con-chan sat attending her, placing a piece of meat in her bowl and teasing with a smile, "I think you've lost a few pounds. Mo, eat more to nourish yourself, hee. The Mid-Autumn Festival is coming up. With 2 new brides in the household this year, it'll be lively." Lu Ti glanced at the boiled meat and felt her stomach churn uncomfortably. She quickly put it back on the tray and turned to Con-chan, "I prefer rice with vegetables and fruit. Next time, tell the kitchen not to bring me savory dishes." Con-chan found this odd. She remembered Mo used to eat a little meat per meal, even if she wasn't fond of it. Still, she didn't dare ask too much after the backfire incident. She feared upsetting Mo and worked extra carefully to avoid displeasing her. "Yes, Mom. I'll keep that in mind." Lu Ti nodded, finished her rice, and told Con-chan to clear the table. Since returning from encountering the wandering soul, she felt something off with her body, though she couldn't pinpoint what exactly. It was only around 8 in the evening, still early, so Lu Ti decided to stroll in the courtyard to clear her mind. By chance, she spotted Bao-tu approaching from a distance. Seeing Lu Ti, Bao-tu bowed politely, "Mo Xie, are you admiring the flowers too?" If not for this encounter, Lu Ti might have forgotten Bao-tu existed. The girl kept a low profile. Lu Ti returned the courtesy, "Yes. Are you out here too?" Bao-tu smiled, "Yes. Mo, I've come to pay my respects a few times. But you were always busy. It's only today I finally got to meet you." For some reason, Lu Ti felt an instinctive dislike for Bao-tu, a deep, visceral aversion. Even Hachi, who'd harmed her, didn't provoke this level of distaste. Keeping it formal, she replied, "No need. I don't care much for formalities. I've got things to attend to. I'll head back. Enjoy your walk." With that, Lu Ti turned toward her room. After a few steps, she overheard Bao-tu's maid grumbling, "Mo Xie is so detestable. You bowed so respectfully. Yet she's still so arrogant. The title of Mao Xie should have been yours." Vol.4 said something in response. But Lu Ti was too far to hear. Nor did she care what was said about her. The girl made her uneasy, better to limit contact in the future. Back in her room, Lu Ti lit another lamp to read, poring over books until late. Only when Konchan urged her did she extinguish the light and go to bed. As Lu Ti lay down, someone suddenly embraced her tightly. Startled, she struggled free, fearing Cao was borrowing another's body to act rashly again. Lu Ti, be good and stay still. It's rare I get to hold you like this. Cao, you can't keep borrowing other people's bodies. It'll disrupt their lives. Cao Xie's hearty laugh rang out. He leaned close to her neck, whispering, turn around and look. Suspicious. Lu Ti rolled over to face him. Seeing his familiar, handsome face, she gasped. The sensation of his touch felt so real though his body was cold. It didn't dampen her joy. Covering her mouth, she sobbed, How? How is this possible? Are you human or ghost? Cao Xie hadn't expected her tears. He quickly pulled her into his chest, comforting her. Why are you crying like this? I truly care for you and see you as my wife. I'll do anything to give you complete happiness. Lu Ti couldn't believe in resurrection. Once a soul left its body for over 7 days, it couldn't return, let alone after Cao Xie's decade-long death. She knew he must have endured immense hardship to regain this body for her sake. Nestling into his chest, she bombarded him with questions. Did you wait long for me earlier? Why didn't you call me? How do you have this body? It's really you. Answer me. Cao Xie held her tightly, savoring her warmth. Though no matter how close he clung, he couldn't change the fact of his death. His body remained icy. Pushing past that loss, he spoke gently, seeing you so engrossed in your book, I didn't want to disturb you. Just watching you was enough. As for how I got this body, do you want to hear? Lu Ti shifted upward, face to face with him, smiling through tears. I'm so happy to hold you like this. You don't know, even in my dreams, I didn't dare hope for this. I'm always ready to hear everything you have to say. Cao Xie noticed her unblinking gaze, her big, round eyes like a little rabbit's, tempting him to tease her. He said, the first time we met, you glared at me like I was your enemy. I thought you found me ugly. Lu Ti waved her hands frantically. No way. You're incredibly handsome. It's just you were so fierce back then. It scared me silly. He raised a hand to touch her beautiful face, trembling as it met her soft skin, pressing his lips to her nose. He murmured, so, can you indulge me a little now? Lu Ti. His closeness flustered her, her face turning tomato red. She pushed him away, clutching the blanket as a barrier, stammering, you have to explain clearly first. How do you have this body? She could tell he wasn't human but still a ghost. Yet he could touch her, a violation of natural laws. He must have paid a steep price. And she couldn't let him harm himself further. Seeing her resolute stance, Cao Xie knew she wouldn't let him near without answers. Sighing, he said, have you heard of the 5 elements ghosts? Lu Ti frowned, asking, no. What's that? Cao, stroking her head and running his fingers through her silky hair. Cao Xie explained, spirits and ghosts have many cultivation methods to gain greater power. However, their essence typically exists as energy with vibrations different from the living. I discovered the 5 elements ghost method to shift from energy to a physical form. Right now, I'm only at the first element ghost level, the highest is the 5th. This state won't last long. With that, he pressed his lips to hers, boldly claiming her sweetness. Spring nights are short. Lu Ti, you should know how to enjoy them, don't let it slip away. Caught off guard by his sudden intimacy, she pounded his chest, protesting, "Cow? Don't be so shameless. Shameless or not, I'm still your husband." As he spoke, he flipped her beneath him. Chapter 26. The next morning, Lu Ti woke to find only a pile of sticky, blood-red mud beside her. Cao Ca had long vanished. She'd known he was a ghost, able to appear only at night. Yet she couldn't suppress the pang of loss in her heart. The 100 Ghosts scripture stated, ghosts fear sunlight, which can incinerate their yin energy. To appear during the day, they must hide within an object. For instance, during their wedding ceremony, Cao Ca had performed the rites inside a paper effigy. As for the 5 elements ghosts, Lu Ti hadn't read about it, perhaps it was in the latter volume of the scripture. She recalled reading only the upper volume of the 100 Ghosts scripture, the lower volume remained elusive despite her searches. But she understood that Cao Ca's transformation from a soul to a physical form defied the natural order of heaven and earth, likely incurring some punishment. Lu Ti knew her own limits for now. She could only strive to grow stronger quickly, hoping to aid him in the future. "Mo, are you awake? I've brought breakfast for you. Wait a moment." Hearing Konchan knock, Lu Ti hurriedly grabbed her robe and dressed. Thankfully, her 5-panel gown was modest, with a high collar that concealed the lingering traces of last night's intimacy. If Konchan noticed, she'd die of embarrassment. After dressing, she draped a blanket over the bed, planning to clean up later once Konchan left. "Bring it in." "Yes, Mom." Konchan carried in the tray and set it on the table. Noticing the dark circles under Lu Ti's eyes, she asked with concern, "Did you sleep poorly last night, Mo?" Lu Ti's face flushed slightly as she replied, "I'm fine. Just leave it there and I'll serve myself. Go have your breakfast." Lu Ti was no longer the isolated newcomer she'd been upon arriving at the estate. Konchan, sensing her elevated status, refrained from teasing and simply wished her a good meal before leaving. After breakfast, as Lu Ti set down her chopsticks, Barbich arrived at Nam Vien with a stack of ledgers. Her demeanor toward Lu Ti was noticeably more respectful than before. Smiling warmly, she said, "Mo Ca, these are the household management ledgers Ba Lon ordered me to bring. Please take a look. If anything unclear, feel free to ask me." Through her experiences, Lu Ti had learned a truth: there are no eternal enemies, only eternal interests. Making trouble for Barbich now would serve no purpose and might even earn her a reputation for harshness among the servants. Instead, she could use Barbich as her eyes and ears, managing the estate more effectively. Lu Ti nodded and said, "I understand. Leave them there." Barbich, relieved that Lu Ti showed no intent to punish her further, still probed cautiously, "I was at fault in the past for offending you." Lu Ti raised a hand, speaking sternly, "No need to dredge up old matters. We'll both be in this household for decades if we cling to grudges. When will it end? As long as you serve the Ho family diligently, I won't mistreat you." Do as you did before. And report to me every 3 days. Barbitch hadn't expected to retain her authority. She knelt, kowtowing in gratitude. Thank you, Monsieur. Rest assured, I'll serve you wholeheartedly. Barbitch left in high spirits, leaving Luti to focus on the ledgers. She'd heard rumors of the Ho family's wealth as the richest in Lang province. But only now, reviewing the records, did she grasp its true extent. Expenditures for festivals like Mid-Autumn, Lunar New Year, and ancestral rites alone exceeded 100 taels of gold. The more she learned, the more curious Luti grew. How could the Ho family amass such wealth? Was it really just from trading cloth? Though she hadn't found the lower volume of the 100 Ghosts scripture last time, Luti refused to give up. She decided to search again. After scouring Tang Thursday CAC all afternoon to no avail, she wondered if the lower volume's contents were forbidden, stored in the inner chamber accessible only to those with her bloodlines. Not a daughter-in-law like her. Disappointed, Luti was heading back when she ran into Barbitch, who said respectfully, Monsieur, Barlon requests your presence at Tavien. All right. Lead the way. Despite being Ho's daughter-in-law for over 3 months, this was Luti's first visit to Tavien, Barcier's private quarters. Her ancestral Ho rules. After the Patriarch took power, he resided in Dong Vien, the matriarch in Tay Vien, while sons and daughters lived in Nam and Bac Vien. Secondary branches stayed in Bayat Vien, the estate's most remote area, stripped of authority, receiving only basic meals for survival. Luti had heard from Konchan that the Patriarch died early, before Cao Cie's passing, allowing Barcier to dominate the household unchecked. As Barcier's residence, Tay Vien was breathtaking. Luti had thought Nam Vien, Cao Cie's quarters, was luxurious, but it pales beside Tay Vien. The area resembled a miniature palace, adorned with artificial mountains, a large lotus and fish pond, a diamond-shaped bridge, and a small pavilion in the pond's center for shaded rest. Barbitch led Luti to the pavilion, where Barcier was feeding the fish. Without turning, Barcier asked, Luti, you're here? Yes, Mother, Luti replied, bowing. Sit first. Though Barcier said so, Luti dared not sit while she stood. She waited quietly, watching Barcier feed the fish. Silently, she marveled at Barcier's knack for luxury unlike the rest of the estate. Tay Vien felt free of yin energy or ghostly presences, exuding a pure, airy serenity. Noticing closely, she saw Barcier had shed her thick makeup, softening her usual sharpness into a rare gentleness. After feeding the fish, Barcier warmly pulled Luti to sit on a stone bench, saying, the last incident wronged you. Luti went along, replying, I'm just glad you understand, Mother. Barcier patted Luti's delicate hands, sighing softly, I hope you understand a mother's heart. Hachi is Lord Feng's daughter from the province. Before acting, I must consider her parents. Being a merchant isn't easy. Offending officials means trouble. The old Luti might have believed this sincere murmur. Now, she smiled inwardly, replying outwardly, yes, I understand, Mother. Barcier chuckled, pleased, truly worthy of the wife Cao Cie chose, so sensible. Try the lotus cakes, I had the kitchen make them this morning. Lu Ti forced a smile. Picking up a cake. Thank you, Mother. Ba Xie nodded. Then let out a long sigh. Lu Ti knew another task was coming but had no choice but to play along. Feigning concern, you seem troubled. Mother. Ba Xie began her tale. Here's the situation, Lord Trinup in the province has family troubles, constant illness, with someone dying every few weeks. He sent word asking for my help. He's aided our trade routes greatly, so I couldn't refuse. But you know my health's been declining, even walking tires me. Ding Thang's still away sourcing cloth. I'm afraid this task falls to you. Lu Ti had heard of Lord Trin, a 7th-rank provincial official of high status. For someone so powerful to seek Ba Xie's aid, the matter couldn't be simple. Likely why Ba Xie was passing it to her. She tried declining tactfully, with such an important figure. I fear I'll botch your affairs, Mother. Ba Xie's expression soured, though she kept her tone calm. If you succeed, Lord Trin will gift our whole family a slab of ancient bark danwood from King Ding's era. Ancient bark danwood from the Ding dynasty. Lu Ti recalled Ba Xie's name, Ding Man. Was there a connection? Seeing Lu Ti's silence, Ba Xie's face hardened as she continued, do you know why I need this wood? Lu Ti shook her head. Ba Xie sipped her tea, explaining, it's for Cao Xie. Of course. To give you a full married life. He stubbornly cultivated the 5 elements ghost path, defying yin-yang, heaven and earth. Heavenly thunder struck him as punishment ghosts fear it most. If he hadn't been lucky enough to survive, his soul would have scattered by now. Lu Ti's heart jolted in fear. Ba Xie smirked faintly. Continuing, he's currently an earth ghost. His spirit body formed from the grave's soil. Being earth-based, he fears water and fire. Most water softens oil. Fire burns it to ash. Remember these weaknesses, he gained them for you. To advance to 2nd element ghost, he needs that ancient bark danwood, without boosting his cultivation soon. If Heavenly Thunder finds him again, no one can save him. Now Lu Ti understood why her bed was covered in mud this morning. His spirit body, molded from soil, reverted to its original form once its time ran out. This time, Cao Xie will go with you. This mission must succeed at all costs. Understood. Lu Ti obeyed Ba Xie, requesting leave to prepare. They depart that night. As Lu Ti's slender figure receded, Ba Xie grinned wickedly, muttering, soon, the grand plan of our Ding family will be complete. Chapter 27. Lu Ti grew anxious and that evening immediately ordered the servants to prepare a horse-drawn carriage for the trip to the province. The journey from the Ho estate to the province took about 3 hours by carriage. Lu Ti felt a twinge of worry. She only had superficial knowledge, mostly gleaned from books with little practical experience. Yet Ba Xie had tasked her with visiting a high-ranking official's home. How could she not be afraid? Don't be scared. I'll help you. Right now. Lu Ti couldn't bring herself to look at him, recalling how naughty he'd been last night. She felt a mix of embarrassment and irritation. She pretended to lift the curtain, gazing at the sky and scenery outside the carriage. Yes. Honan, noticing Lu Ti ignoring him, grumbled, why won't you look at me when we talk? Lu Ti quickly made an excuse, I'm checking if tonight's conditions are favorable for our task. Cow. Honan huffed, instead of praying to the heavens and earth, why not ask me to guide you? Luti clasped her hands. Then please teach me more. Cow. If you think things are simple, they'll be simple. Whether it's the living or the dead, it's the same. Find the cause, and you can solve it. Just like treating an illness. You need the right medicine to cure the root of the problem. His words enlightened Luti. She previously focused only on solutions without considering causes, leading to several mistakes thankfully corrected in time. As Luti reached the gates of Lord Trin's estate, a pale-faced man rushed out, nearly colliding with her. She deftly stepped aside just in time. Approaching the two gatekeepers, she handed them the letter Bar-Ca had given her, saying, "I'm from the whole family. Please deliver this letter to Lord Trin." The guards, seemingly forewarned and impressed by Luti's beauty and dignified air, bowed without hesitation, gesturing her in. "Please enter, miss. The Lord instructed us beforehand. I'll guide you." Luti nodded and followed calmly into Lord Trin's estate, befitting a 7th-rank official. The place was adorned with lavish rarities, though its antiquity paled compared to the Ho estate. The deeper she went, the heavier the yin energy grew, mingled with a faint stench of decay. From a distance, Luti spotted Lord Trin pacing anxiously outside a door. Over 50. He was recognizable by his Chu robe and Liang hat attire reserved for Li dynasty officials. "You are..." Before Luti could speak, Lord Trin addressed her first. She bowed quickly. "Sir. I am Luti, daughter-in-law of the Ho family, sent by Barlon." Seeing Luti wasn't even 20, Lord Trin looked skeptical. Anyone else might have been expelled, but considering the Ho family's unfathomable depths, he wondered if she was a hidden expert. Luti handed him the letter, adding, "This is Barlon's letter for you. Please take a look." Lord Trin took it, opened it, and his face darkened. He snorted, "The Ho family are such ingrates. Now that my Trin clan is in trouble, you dare set conditions? You've got the nerve." Luti didn't know what the letter said to enrage him. Before she could respond, he continued, "Fine. Let's see what the Ho daughter-in-law's got. If you can't resolve this, leave your head here." Bar-Ca was ruthless, leaving Luti no escape. She had to succeed. Clenching her fists, she raised her head confidently, "I can help you. But you must promise to follow my every instruction." Lord Trin, impressed that Luti wasn't cowed by his authority and responded calmly, felt a flicker of admiration and trust. What was one ancient relic from a past dynasty? If the Ho family could settle this, preserving his lineage was worth it. "All right. I agree. Tell me about recent events in your estate. Come inside." Lord Trin led the way through the main door, Luti following. A servant offered tea, and only after Ho Nam nodded did she dare sip it. Though the tea's aroma was gentle, it couldn't mask the estate's putrid stench. Observing Lord Trin and the servants' unaffected faces, she wondered, could only she smell it? "It started 3 months ago. My Trin family began dying one after another, without reason. First my father was as healthy as ever, then suddenly dropped dead. Next, my older brother developed sores all over. Physicians found no illness, just common scabies, treatable with ointment, yet he died 3 days later. The third was..." His voice choked with grief, eyes brimming with sorrow as he continued, "My youngest daughter. Her mind suddenly unraveled, ranting madness all day. A month later, she hanged herself in her room. Lu Ti sympathized with the pain of a parent outliving their child, saying, "Take a sip of tea to soothe your throat." "Sir?" "Tell it slowly." Lord Trin nodded, his earlier sternness fading. After a sip, he finished, "Now it's my wife. She's got the same sores as my brother. We've called physicians from everywhere and all say it's just scabies. I summoned exorcists too, but they shook their heads, saying the Trin family's fate is like a lamp running out of oil." Lu Ti grew more confused. Initially, the string of deaths suggested a chain curse, but with multiple exorcists stumped, she wavered. Glancing at Honan, she saw his grave expression. He shook his head, saying sternly, "Let's go back. This case is beyond us." Lu Ti jolted. Honan was a ghost. What evil could overwhelm him? She asked mentally, "You can't handle it either, cow?" He shook his head, "It's not that. The Trin family has unwittingly offended the underworld powers. If you meddle, they'll punish you. For anything else, Lu Ti would have obeyed. But recalling Barcier's words, the ancient Bak Danwood could elevate him to second element ghost. Shielding him from heavenly thunder, she gritted her teeth. Defying him, "Can you arrange a room near Vol.4 for me?" "Sir?" Lord Trin nodded promptly, "Of course. Chow. Clean the northern room for this mist to stay in." Honan's face darkened. Scolding her, "What are you saying? I told you not to get involved." Lu Ti ignored him. Bowing to Lord Trin, "It's late. And Barlon's asleep, I won't disturb her. I'll retire to rest first." Pleased with her decorum, Lord Trin said nothing. Ordering a servant to escort her, Con Chow led Lu Ti to her room, saying, "I'm Chow. You're the Lord's honored guest. If you need anything tonight, just call, I'll be right outside." Lu Ti nodded. Had Chow closed the door and lay on the bed? The carriage ride had left her back sore. "Why won't you listen to me?" Seeing Honan's anger, Lu Ti softened her tone, "Hold on. Hear me out. Only by completing this can Lord Trin give me what I need. I help him. He repays me mutual benefit." Cow. His expression grew grimmer. Luckily, he couldn't materialize now, just a ghost, or Lu Ti wouldn't dare defy him so boldly. "What do you need from him?" Recalling Barcier's words, Lu Ti couldn't let him know. If he learned she was risking danger for his sake, he'd feel guilt and shame. As her husband who'd aided her often, she wanted to do something for him in return. "I can't say. Please help me with this." Cow. Hee. "I know you're the best." Honan softened at her sweet talk, reluctantly agreeing. Seeing his reluctant approval, Lu Ti ventured, "Can you tell me what's happening to the Trin family?" Cow. He replied, "I'm only 80% sure. If it's what I think, we'll know after tonight." Her curiosity piqued, "What's it?" Cow. Noticing her eagerness, Honan deliberately withheld it, punishing her earlier disobedience. "Listen to me now, rest a bit. At midnight, I'll show you something interesting." Cow. "You." Lu Ti huffed at his evasiveness. She thought she'd struggle to sleep in this strange place. But as soon as her eyes closed, she drifted off. Hearing his warm voice in her dream, "Can't hold you tonight. Sleep well." Lu Ti, true to his word, Honam woke her at midnight, fighting the sleep weighing her eyelids. She asked, "Where are you taking me?" "Cow. Just follow me." He floated ahead, and Lu Ti quietly opened the door. Tiptoeing after him, he led her to the estate's outer wall, saying, "Climb up here." If he hadn't been serious, Lu Ti might have thought he was punishing her earlier by making her climb in the dead of night. Fortunately, the wall wasn't high, with stones below for footing. After some effort, she made it up. "Look over there," following his pointed direction. Not far, Lu Ti saw something like a humanoid figure crawling on the ground, as large as a cow or buffalo. Instantly, the foul stench from earlier hit her. From it, small, milky white worms emerged, swarming toward the Trin estate, leaving a trail of slimy, white ooze wherever they went. Covering her mouth in horror, Lu Ti asked, What are they?" Cow. Chapter 28. Could someone have cast a curse on the Trin family? Cow. Cao Ca shook his head, replying, "No. The Trin family has somehow gotten entangled with corpse worms. That big, fat leader over there is called the ancestor worm. It's the corpse controlled by the worms. Every night, it rises from its grave and crawls toward the afflicted household to harm them. Since every home has a kitchen god guarding the door, and corpse worms fear fire most, they can't just barge in. Instead, they split into smaller worms to slip past the kitchen god unnoticed." Lu Ti followed the path of the small worms with her eyes and saw them crawling toward Bar Trin's room. Plump little creatures wriggling together like wild mushrooms after rain. "Want to keep watching?" At Cao Ca's question, Lu Ti nodded. She cautiously approached Bar Trin's room, wary of alerting the worms and risking their curse turning on her. Peeking through the curtain, she saw the worms had reached the bed, crawling into Bar Trin's nostrils one by one. Their tiny tentacles sprayed a foul, white substance across her face. Bar Trin's complexion turned deathly pale, likely struggling to breathe. Seeing the dire situation, Lu Ti was about to shout and wake the household when Cao Ca stopped her. His tone stern, "If you yell, you'll not only harm her but everyone in this estate. These worms are just draining her young energy slowly, it's not yet life-threatening." Lu Ti nodded frantically, terrified, and asked, "What should I do now?" "Cow." He replied, "For now, pretend you saw nothing. Go back to your room and sleep. Tomorrow morning, once these worms settle into her body, I'll have a way to destroy them." This time, Lu Ti obeyed, heading back to her room. Placing a hand on her forehead, she pondered endlessly, then suddenly asked, "So, the Trin family isn't dealing with a chain curse?" Cow. Cao Ca, always by her side to protect her, answered immediately, "It's both a chain curse and not quite a chain curse." Lu Ti, puzzled, asked, "Huh? Can you explain?" Cow. Think of it simply, a chain curse happens when someone dies at an ill-fated time, catching the attention of the cursed deity, who captures their soul, tortures it until it reveals the names and birth dates of family members for the deity to claim next. Corpse worms, though, stem from a burial mishap. Something the family did offended a higher power, who then sent these worms as soldiers to plague the clan until it collapses. They don't kill outright but drain yang energy gradually, causing illness and slow death. or driving victims mad with their toxic fumes until they take their own lives. Lu Ti nodded, absorbing this, and asked, "So how do we deal with corpse worms?" Cao Xie replied, "First, save Bartrin tomorrow morning. Corpse worms are pure yin and fear fire's yang energy most. Burn some herbs like lemongrass, bear root, mandarin seed, and black snake root, and you can save her. That's simple." Cao Xie shook his head. "It'll only sustain her life for another year. This method just cuts off the branches of the small worms. To end the Trin family's extinction threat completely, you need to find the grave of the first victim, the ancestor worm, and kill it. Only then will they be free. Using the same method." Cow. His expression grew grave, and he said seriously, "You can only help them this far. The rest depends on their fate. Do you know why my mother and so many exorcists refused this case?" Lu Ti pondered. If it were as simple as Cao Xie described, why hadn't anyone helped Lord Trin? Even Bar Xie had pushed this onto her. Frowning, she said, "Is it because it involves offending a higher power?" Cao Xie nodded, smiling at her correct guess. "Yes. Exactly. The Trin family's name has been written on the deity of Worm's life and death ledger. Remember when I said the underworld mirrors the living world? Just as officials have ranks above, so do they below. The Worm deity is a fourth-rank official, tasked with escorting souls to the underworld. And corpse worms are his soldiers. Killing the small ones is fine, but touching the ancestor worm would enrage him. The consequences would be unbearable for the living. Those others, for their own sake, wouldn't dare provoke him." Lu Ti saw the logic but pressed further, "What about chain curses? Then? Don't some exorcists trap souls to stop them?" Cao Xie sighed, "That's not a root cure. It only delays it for 5 or 6 generations. By then, descendants forget, assuming it's resolved. Have you heard of collective karma?" "No. Those bound by collective karma often become family. Nothing happens without cause. Dying at a cursed hour and dragging others along isn't random. It's karma sown across lifetimes, repaid in this one. Corpse worms are similar. You have a kind heart, but you can't save everyone." Lu Ti's heart sank. Having promised to help Lord Trin, she wanted to do her utmost, even knowing karmic laws were inescapable. Still, she hoped to ease their burden somehow. Is there really no other way? Cow. I don't know Lord Trin's reputation in court, but at home, he reveres his father, loves his wife, and cherishes his kids. If his wife dies early, the Trin family will crumble. Cao Xie admired Lu Ti's compassion even more. He knew her life had been hard from childhood, and since marrying him, his mother had relentlessly oppressed her, pushing her toward death. Yet she harbored no resentment, still seeking to help others. Seeing her sparkling, earnest eyes, he couldn't refuse. Tomorrow morning, follow my instructions. Use a blazing charcoal brazier to fumigate. Tie her tightly so she can't bite her tongue. And when her body turns red, prick her fingertips to drain the toxic blood. She'll be safe for now." Lu Ti's hope reignited, and she nearly hugged him in gratitude before remembering he was a ghost. She settled for words. "I knew it despite your cold face. You're kind and caring." Cow. It was the first time someone called him kind. though slightly embarrassed. A flicker of joy warmed him. Still, he kept his expression neutral, stopped sweet talking. Sleep, or the roosters will crow soon. Do as I said, tomorrow I'll prepare some things. Yes, sir? Lu Ti happily obeyed, pulling the blanket over herself for a brief rest. At dawn, Con Chow woke her. Please have breakfast. Then meet the Lord at the main house. Miss. Lu Ti nodded, probing despite knowing last night's events. Anything unusual in the estate last night? Con Chow paused, then asked suspiciously, No. Nothing. Did you sleep poorly, miss? Lu Ti shook her head, saying no more, and focused on her porridge. As she set down her spoon, someone burst in, panting, Trouble, miss. Something's happened with Ba Long. The Lord summons you urgently. All right? I'm coming. Lu Ti grabbed her tea, took a sip to rinse her mouth, and followed the servant. Before leaving, she glanced at the bed. No sign of Cao Xie. He'd vanished when she awoke. With no time to dwell, Lu Ti rushed to Ba Trin's room. The stench, worse than yesterday, nearly choked her. She urgently commanded, the yin energy here is too thick, open the doors for sunlight to dispel it. Lord Trin waved a hand, signaling the servants to obey. Approaching the bed, Lu Ti saw Ba Trin's ashen face, sunken eyes dark as death, and sores on her exposed arms from the worms gnawing. A faint whiff of death emanated from her. Alarmed, she said, This is bad. Get Ba Long into the sunlight now. And prepare these for me, a sturdy rope, a hot charcoal brazier, and herbs, lemongrass, bear root, mandarin seed, and black snake root. Exposing her to sunlight was Lu Ti's additional morning rays. Though mild, had enough heat to buy time until the brazier and herbs arrived. Lord Trin, never having seen illness or evil treated this way, asked skeptically, Explain first. What's wrong with my wife? Lu Ti replied hastily, Please trust me. Saving her is urgent. I can't explain fully now. Seeing Lord Trin hesitate, Lu Ti ignored him, rushing to prop Ba Trin up and carrying her outside. She wasn't afraid of the worms, since Cao Xie had said they slept by day, only awakening at night. You. How bold. Lu Ti's swift action stunned Lord Trin and the servants, who couldn't react in time. Her voice rang out, Hurry. Prepare what I ask. I'll save Ba Trin. I promise. Chapter 29. Though Lu Ti's actions were reckless, her resolute demeanor instilled a sense of reassurance in others. Left with no alternative, Quan Trin ordered the servants to follow her instructions. Ba, go prepare what she needs. After speaking, Quan Trin stepped into the courtyard to see how Lu Ti would save his wife. Her forehead glistened with sweat from exhaustion, yet she gritted her teeth, carrying Ba Trin with determination. Straining to say, Bring me a bamboo cot. A servant quickly fetched a bamboo cot from inside and set it in the yard. Only after laying Ba Trin down did Lu Ti wonder how she'd managed to carry her so long. She'd simply resolved to save her with all her might. While awaiting the charcoal and herbs, Lu Ti used rope to secure Ba Trin firmly to the cot, preventing her from thrashing in pain and ruining the process. Though Cao hadn't explained fully, Lu Ti understood she had to eradicate every last worm. If even one escaped to report to the ancestor worm, everyone would be in peril. She spoke gently to encourage Bartrin, Barlon. Endure this hardship a little longer, I'll do my utmost to help. Bartrin's mind was hazy, half conscious as she nodded faintly. Only those near death could grasp its weight and cherish every fleeting moment of life. Under the gentle morning sunlight, Luti faintly saw the corpse worms beneath Bartrin's skin. Some had crawled near her scalp, poised to pierce her spinal cord with their tentacles. No wonder her condition had worsened so suddenly. Sir? The items are ready. Quantrin nodded. A servant brought a blazing red charcoal brazier to Luti, while another respectfully handed her a bundle of herbs containing everything she'd requested. Without hesitation, she tossed them into the brazier. The herbs ignited instantly, sending up thick green smoke. Luti slid the brazier beneath the cot with one hand while fanning the flames evenly with a palm leaf fan in the other. Fetch me a large blanket from the house. Once a servant brought it. She continued, please. Each of you take a corner and hold the blanket up around us. Covering the area would trap the heat, forcing the worms out of Bartrin faster and easing her pain. As 4 servants moved to grab the blanket's corners, Luti shouted, no. Birth, aging, sickness, death. 4 means death. 3 people, 3 corners only. The saying steady as a 3-legged stool came to mind. Luti paid meticulous attention to every detail, hoping to expel the worms smoothly and save Bartrin. Sure enough, once the blanket was draped, the trapped heat intensified. Sweat-drenched Luti, but her small arms kept fanning the brazier relentlessly. A. H. Ot. To who what? Let me go? Bartrin groaned in agony, flailing her limbs. Thankfully, Luti had tied her securely beforehand and stuffed a rag in her mouth to prevent her from biting her tongue. The worms, scorched by the heat, writhed beneath Bartrin's skin. Luti could hear their screeches and roars, popping sounds, like bursting firecrackers, echoed from her body. I can't take it. Kill me. Husband. Kill me. Hearing his wife's anguished cries, Quantrin's heart twisted. He moved to lift the blanket, but Luti stopped him. Please stay calm. Sir, I'm almost done driving them out. Don't let 3 years of effort burn in one moment. At this, Quantrin halted, his once proud official's silhouette shrinking. He recalled the wrongs he'd committed, the people he'd harmed. Perhaps this was heaven's retribution. Luti calmly reassured Bartrin, Barlon. Just a bit longer, it's almost over. After about an incense stick's time, Bartrin's body turned red as a boiled shrimp. Seeing the worms forced into her arms, Luti pulled a silver needle from her waistband, saying, this will hurt a little, bite the rag hard. After instructing her, Luti took a deep breath, heated the needle in the brazier for a few seconds, then pricked each of Bartrin's fingertips. It hurts. Too much. I want to kill someone? Each fingertip's blood vessels linked to the heart. Luti worked meticulously, draining the toxic blood. As it dripped out, it turned into white worm threads, splattering into a slimy puddle on the ground. Just as she neared the final finger, Quantrin, unable to wait, flung the blanket aside and rushed in. Seeing the worms on the ground, He froze in horror. Speechless. A breeze blew in, invigorating the worms. Bartrin's pinky finger hardened like stone. Luti's needle couldn't pierce it. The worms seized the chance, slithering back up her arm toward her heart. In desperation, Luti stabbed her own pinky with the silver needle, declaring, "I, Luti, use my blood as a conduit, expel the worms." This time, the needle pierced Bartrin's finger, burned by the brazier's heat. The worms hissed in fury, "Mortal fool! Daring to ruin the worm deity's work. You'll die unrested. Let's see if you survive to report first." With that, Luti dumped the brazier onto the worms on the ground. In a flash, they melted into water. Bartrin's complexion grew rosy, the dark miasma on her forehead dissipating. Luti sighed in relief. "It's stable for now." Quantrin joyfully embraced his wife, exclaiming, "Thank goodness. Thank goodness you're safe. I feared you'd leave me like father and our youngest." Bartrin, her kindly face weary, looked up at Luti. "Thanks to this young lady. We owe her greatly." Quantrin nodded, "Yes. Yes. All thanks to her. I'll have the item sent to the Ho estate." Luti replied, "Please have someone take Barlon inside the rest first." Realizing the gravity lingered, Quantrin waved urgently, "Bar. Take her inside now." Exhausted, Bartrin still managed before being carried off. "Don't be harsh. Husband, treat our savior well. Rest easy. Dear, I'll handle everything." Once Bartrin was indoors, Luti frowned and explained honestly, "To be frank, I've only expelled the worms from her body today. This buys a few days. Your family is afflicted by corpse worms. The ancestor worm will send more to harm Barlon. Repeatedly letting them enter and driving them out isn't sustainable. Over time, their yin energy will accumulate, and she'll be beyond saving." Quantrin quickly grasped the issue. Resolute, "Can we kill the ancestor worm?" Luti shook her head, "Absolutely not. It's tied to the worm deity. Disturbing it would bring calamity not just to me but your entire clan instantly." Quantrin's face sagged with grief. He knelt, pleading earnestly, "You're young and talented, please save my wife and my son. The last of our line. I've done many wrongs and will bear all the sins." A high official kneeling before her shocked Luti. She hurriedly helped him up. "Please stand. Sir, I'll do my utmost." "Good. Good, we're counting on you. For now, I tend to Barlon. I need to return to my room to devise a plan against the worms coming in the next few days." Quantrin agreed, "Anything you need. Command the servants." Before leaving, Luti added, "These days, watching Barlon's diet, not all tonics are good. To expel the worm's cold energy, use warming foods. Brew ginger tea each night before bed. Avoid cold-natured items like crabs, snails, or anything fishy. Her body's now vulnerable to too much yin, will attract malevolent spirits." After bidding Quantrin farewell, Luti departed, unnoticed. As Quantrin rushed inside earlier, a corpse worm had crawled onto his trouser hem. As Luti left, it stirred, its plump body wriggling. Chapter 30. As Luti entered her room, her strength drained, and she had to grip the chair to avoid collapsing. Not seeing Kausier return yet, she felt a twinge of worry. "Are you all right, Miss Conchow?" A servant of the Trin estate, supported Lu Ti while asking. Lu Ti shook her head. I'm fine. For lunch? Just bring me some plain porridge and pickled vegetables. I want to rest now. Con Chow? Understanding. Helped Lu Ti to bed. Then respectfully closed the door and left. Lu Ti's eyelids grew heavy. Her body exhausted. And she drifted off unknowingly. Moments later, she felt weightless. As if floating had her soul left her body. Still reeling. A white light pulled her to a strange mansion. Bull-headed, horse-faced guards stood at the gate. She was led inside to a courtroom, where she sighed in relief upon seeing the familiar face of Lao Tu. Before she could greet him, he sternly warned Lu Ti. Leave the Trin estate immediately. It had been a while since she'd last seen Lao Tu. Overjoyed, she said, please, Lao Tu, show mercy to us mortals. Just tell me how to save the Trin family. Bar Trin is kind. What wrong has she done? Lao Tu shook his head. The worm deity isn't easily trifled with and holds grudges. Do you know the consequences of offending him? Don't meddle in others' affairs. Lu Ti, unconvinced, raised her head and spoke clearly. Since I began studying the mystic arts, I've vowed to help people. If I cower and avoid trouble just because someone's powerful or exalted, then what's the point of learning these skills? Lao Tu, momentarily stumped, couldn't counter her words. She pressed on. Besides, I've read the fates of Quan Trin and his wife. They're not yet at their end. If they survive this ordeal, they'll do much good, aiding the people through famine. Feeling his authority challenged, Lao Tu waved his hand, sending Lu Ti crashing into a courtroom pillar. He'd previously seen her talent and mystic affinity across lifetimes, saving her to hone her into a sharp blade against Barcia. But he hadn't anticipated her rapid progress or her ability to read fates. It defied logic. Unless she'd studied the arts before and lost her memories for some reason. Frowning, Lao Tu recalled their first meeting on her wedding day to the Ho family. Back then, she'd been timid and fearful, perhaps sealed by something that locked away her memories and true nature. After encountering the wandering soul, that seal might have weakened, unveiling her resilience and strength. Her fate suggested a complex background. She'd likely overcome the worm deity issue herself. Approaching her, Lao Tu helped her up, chuckling, just testing you. You're tougher now? I called you here for another matter too. When you return to the Ho estate, go to Tavien, there's a hidden passage beneath. Before he could finish, Cao Xie appeared, cutting him off. No. It's too dangerous. With a flick of his hand, a guest whisked Lu Ti from the underworld. In a blink, her soul re-entered her body. Though it took an incense stick's time before she could move. Opening her eyes, she saw Cao Xie beside her. His gaze stern. Don't let others snatch your soul again. I told you not to trust anyone at the Ho estate. But Lao Tu. Cao Xie sighed. You must understand, someone like Lao Tu prioritizes clan interests above all. You're useful to the Ho family now. So he helps you? But what if you become a threat later? Though she'd sensed this partially, hearing it left Lu Ti disheartened. Lao Tu held a special place in her heart when she was most helpless. He'd saved her from Varcier's clutches. Thank you, Cao. I understand. Cao Xie gazed deeply into her beautiful eyes, softening. Don't even trust me completely. Got it. You have a long future ahead. You'll soar far and shouldn't be caged. His words sounded like a farewell. Alarming her, why say something strange like that? I believe you'll stay with me forever. You promised to turn into an old ghost when I age. So I won't feel lonely. Cao Xie nodded, I'll do my best for our future. Enough of this good news, I've found a way to save the Trin estate. Lu Ti pouted. Huffing, you promised. So you better succeed. Cao. What's your plan? Seeing her act coy, Cao Xie found it adorable and indulged her. I can't become a corpse ghost now. So you'll make a substitute effigy? I'll teach you how. Hee hee. Yes. Sir? You're so clever, I knew you'd have a way. Lu Ti said admiringly. She couldn't help but feel regret alive. He must have been a towering figure of valor. This sparked curiosity, why had he died so young? Cow. Cow. Hearing her sweet tone for the first time, Cao Xie was puzzled but felt an indescribable warmth. Facing her playfulness, he relented, what story do you want now? Lu Ti nodded eagerly, tell me about your life when you were alive. Cow. I'm dying to know how amazing my husband was. His face grew solemn. His deep, black eyes brimming with untold burdens. His lips pressed tight before he replied, I'll tell you when the time's right. For now, I'll teach you to make the substitute effigy. Lu Ti sulked, yes? Sir? After his detailed instructions, lunchtime arrived. Con Chao brought food, and Lu Ti ate. Before Con Chao cleared the tray, Lu Ti said, pass a message to Quan Trin for me, I've found a way to save Ba Long. Prepare these items her usual clothes. Dry straw, pig's blood, and pig skin. By early afternoon, Quan Trin had everything delivered. Lu Ti skillfully sewed the clothes openings shut. Stuffed them with straw soaked in pig's blood to form an effigy resembling Ba Trin. Then wrapped it in pig skin, and drizzled more blood. Is this good? Cow. She admired her work. Turning to him. Yes. It carries the scent of the substituted person. Ba Trin was born in the year of the pig. So pig's blood serves as the conduit. Now write her birth date on paper. Attach it to the effigy's face. And it'll fool the small worms? By night, all was ready. Lu Ti had the effigy placed on the bed, with Ba Trin hidden beneath it, while she observed from outside to avoid alerting the worms. Before leaving, she warned, no matter what you see or happens, Ba Long, don't make a sound. If the worms detect a fake, they'll tear you apart instantly. Lu Ti, Quan Trin, and two trusted servants waited by the window, with lime powder sprinkled at their feet for protection if anything went awry. Sure enough, at midnight, the worms returned. Despite seeing them before, Quan Trin still sweated profusely. As they neared the bed, everyone held their breath. Thankfully, the effigy worked, luring the worms onto it. They're inside. Take it out and burn it now. Quan Trin ordered the effigy moved to a prepared brazier and incinerated. Fortunately, everything went smoothly this time, with no surprises. Afterward, Lu Ti spoke privately to Quan Trin, this effigy can take Ba Long's place once. But it costs 3 years of her lifespan. The worm affliction has damaged your family's fortune. I fear the Trin estate won't last beyond 2 more generations. Quan Trin, alarmed, knelt as if before a saint, please grant my family a way forward. Luti clasped her hands sincerely, if you trust me. Sir? From now on, let the Trin family eat vegetarian. Avoid killing. Dedicate merits. And do good deeds to build blessings for you, Barlon, and your descendants. That's all I can do. After these 2 days, Quantrin's once straight back bore a weight of age. Bowing noticeably, he replied respectfully, the Trin family thanks you for your virtue. Tomorrow is the 14th, mid-autumn is near. I'll return to the Ho estate at dawn. Please heed my advice. Before retiring, Quantrin handed her a token, the Ho family isn't virtuous. I've dealt with them long enough to know. If you ever fall into dire straits, take this to the capital. My old classmate, now a court minister named Lu Feng, might help you. Hearing of a Minister Lu, Lu Ti felt a vague stir of recognition. Chapter 31. The current court minister, Lu Feng. Lu Ti noted the name in her mind but didn't dwell on it much, merely finding it a curious coincidence that he shared her surname. Perhaps it was fate. She clasped her hands and bowed to Quantrin. Thank you for the reminder. Sir? I'll leave early tomorrow for now. Please take care of yourself and Barlon. After just a few days, Quantrin had grown genuinely fond of Lu Ti's kind and compassionate nature. He added, regarding the ancient bark Dan wood, I'll have soldiers escorted to the Ho estate in a few days. Go ahead with peace of mind. Carrying such a valuable item could bring trouble. Lu Ti understood the principle, an innocent man with a treasure invites guilt. Knowing Quantrin meant well, she agreed that the rare bark Dan wood could indeed attract danger if carried on her person. Not long after, Lu Ti heard of a Trin official with a bodhisattva's heart who resigned, retreated into obscurity, and used his fortune to aid the famine-stricken poor. Daily, he and his wife cooked porridge to distribute to the hungry. Leaving the Trin estate, Lu Ti felt both joy and sorrow. Joy for partially aiding them. Sorrow for not eradicating the root bar. Trin's lifespan would still shorten. Seeing this, Cao Xie comforted her, don't be sad, you've done all you could to help more people. You must grow stronger. Lu Ti nodded, yes. I understand, Cao. Though she said so, Cao Xie knew she was still downcast and offered a distraction. It's the 14th today. How about we stay in the province an extra day? I'll take you somewhere for mid-autumn. In her hometown? Lu Ti celebrated mid-autumn yearly with lion dances, lantern processions, and feasts. She wondered what this new place offered. Where? Cao. North of Lang province, near the Song border, there's a village called the boundary of Yin and Yang. Its gate opens twice a year, on the 15th of the 7th lunar month and the 15th of the 8th. Mid-autumn, so the living and dead can meet. It's a reunion festival. If you attend and have fate, you might meet someone you seek. Lu Ti let out an excited oh, and clapped. I've never been there. I'd love to go. But mother. It's fine. You've completed your task well. Tell Tai to head back first. The village is a perfect chance to explore our land's scenic beauty. We'll arrive by evening. Lu Ti pouted, convenient for you, I'm your coachman now. Though she grumbled, she cherished private time with him. She sent Tai back to report to Bar Ca, saying she and Cao Ca had business and would follow later. The carriage's fabric was treated with special herbs to shield Cao Ca's soul from sunlight, allowing him to rest comfortably inside as Lu Ti diligently drove the horse. That day, Lu Ti felt immense happiness, imagining them as an ordinary couple enjoying a festival together. As dusk fell, they reached Tuan village. The entrance passed through a narrow mountain crevice. Lu Ti sensed an unusual feng shui yin dominated yang, explaining how the living could meet the dead here. Tuan village glowed with lanterns, not just the usual red, but white ones interspersed, lending a mystical, ethereal air. Upon arrival, Cao Xie transformed into a corpse ghost. Embracing Lu Ti from behind with a smile, "I can maintain this form 12 hours a week now. I'll spend as much time with you as possible." He clasped her small hand tightly, leading her into the crowd to enjoy the festival. The sudden joy overwhelmed Lu Ti. She grinned non-stop, pulling him from stall to stall, delighted like a child at her first fair, seeing both the living and dead mingling. She asked curiously, "What if evil ghosts harm people?" "Cow. This area has a guardian deity. Any ghost daring to harm humans here gets their soul shattered." Lu Ti nodded, smiling. She hadn't imagined such a fascinating place. Stalls lined the streets for both realms. Transactions mirrored the market she'd seen. But Mid-Autumn buzzed livelier, with incense burners smoking non-stop beside vendors. Mid-Autumn cakes. Come get your cakes, folks. Noticing Lu Ti eyeing a cake stall, Cao Xie asked, "Shall we grab a bite? A reward for being my coachman all day." Seeing the vendor's warm smile, Lu Ti nodded and stopped by. "Vendor. One Mid-Autumn cake, please." Coming right up, the middle-aged vendor, a veteran here, rarely saw young couples together. Typically, at Tuan village's Mid-Autumn, one was alive, the other dead, reuniting yearly if fate allowed. "Here's a full, round mung bean cake wishing you both a lifetime together." He set the cake down with a blessing. Lu Ti smiled, "Thank you." Cut into 8 slices. Lu Ti tried one. The fragrant baked crust and mung bean filling melted in her mouth. She praised, "Uncle, your cakes are amazing." The vendor beamed, "You flatter me. I'm the worst baker in my family. My siblings all have big shops in the capital. First time here. You too?" Before Lu Ti could reply, a customer nearby called, "Vendor. My bill." "No need, someone paid for you." He waved off. Bustling over, the young man grabbed his arm, pleading, "Please. Tell me, was it her?" The vendor sighed, "She asked me to tell you, stop coming here. Your fate's ended." Lu Ti saw the young woman's soul beside him, trying to touch him but repelled by his protective samadhi fire. The yin-yang divide pained Lu Ti, her chest tightening. She turned to Cao Xie, "Isn't there a way for them to meet?" "Cow." He patted her head, chuckling, "You love helping people, don't you?" "Hee hee. I ask you first if it's doable. I'll try my best." As the man walked away dejectedly, Lu Ti moved to follow. But Cao Xie held her hand. "Finish your cake, no rush. I know where he's going." After bidding the vendor goodbye, Cao Xie led her through the bustling streets to a massive, verdant ancient tree, its canopy sprawling, likely centuries old. This is the home of the local deity, the Nyan Duan tree. The living who wish to meet the dead write the deceased's name and birth date on bamboo tags, tying them to threads hanging from the branches. Amid the crowd, Lu Ti spotted the young man praying, preparing to tie his tag. Every mid-autumn. Tons of people hang tags here. Do you think everyone meets who they want? She noticed among countless white threads. Only 3 were red. I've told you the underworld has strict rules. If everyone could meet the dead directly, wouldn't the worlds mix and chaos ensue? Only a few whose tags hit a red thread get passed to the deity, who allows a meeting for one incense stick's time. Hey! Wait! Seeing the man about to tie his tag to a white thread, Blue Tea stopped him, pointing to a high red thread. She said, "Why not tie it to this one?" He smiled bitterly, "Sure. This is my 3rd year coming knowing I won't meet her. I still cling to hope. You two are blessed. Life's short. Cherish it." The girl's soul, realizing Lu Ti could see her and wasn't ordinary, bowed gratefully, "Thank you. For 3 years. I couldn't reincarnate peacefully, there's things I didn't tell him. Thank you for this chance." Waving goodbye, she followed the man, watching them fade. Lu Ti asked wistfully, "No fate this life, can they be together in the next?" "Cow." He replied helplessly, "Marital fate needs many factors, affinity, debt. And even then, lasting love requires affection and beauty. They may love now, but as new souls in the next life. Who knows?" Before she could ask more, Cao Cie's face darkened, pinching his fingers. He frowned, "Trouble, the worm deity sent soldiers for us. This is underworld turf, I'm restricted. We need to leave fast." Chapter 32. Cao Cie gripped Lu Ti's hand tightly, pulling her swiftly through the crowd to escape Tuan village's territory. But the throng was too dense, slowing their pace. "Have you seen this person?" A voice behind them startled Lu Ti. Cao Cie yanked her behind a corner, peeking out to see a paper with her face sketched on it. Lu Ti bent to grab some dirt to smear on her face. But Cao Cie chuckled, "Your face like that will draw even more attention. We can't go back the old way, officials are lying in wait. Luckily, Tuan village has 2 exits. Come. We'll take the opposite route. Hold my hand tight and run. Don't look back. Got it?" "Yes." Lu Ti obeyed, feeling safer with him by her side. After breaking free of the crowd, they reached a wooden bridge spanning a large lake. Its shimmering surface reflected countless lanterns floating along the shore. "Another time? I'll take you to the capital for lantern floating. The festival there's even grander," Cao Cie said. Lu Ti knew he was comforting her, nodding with a smile, "As long as you're with me, I'm happy anywhere." Suddenly, she glimpsed a girl's faint silhouette under a lantern's candlelight. Lu Ti realized how the living met the dead here. Bamboo tags selected the fated few. Then lantern flames summoned the departed, who appeared via the light to bid final farewells to the living they lingered for. She sighed, wishing them fate in their next life. The new route Cao Cie mentioned wound through another narrow mountain pass, tighter than the first. No wonder it was deserted. One misstep could be fatal. Knowing Lu Ti feared heights, he slowed his pace, occasionally cautioning, "Watch your step, there's a jutting rock here." At a bend, he halted, sighing as he looked at her, "We can't avoid them." Stepping forward, he shielded Lu Ti behind him. The ancestor worm blocked the exit, its bloated body like a massive jar, its flesh sagging and slimy. It glared at Cao Cie and Lu Ti, drooling thick yellow ooze. Its skin stretched, opening hand-sized holes from which white worm swarms emerged. The same ones that stole young energy from humans and absorbed souls and ghosts, making them deadly. A small worm perched atop the ancestor, buzzing and pointing at Lu Ti. Though voiceless, she understood its intent. That wretch from the Trin estate, she killed us. It's her? Lu Ti frowned. Had this worm escaped when she expelled them from Bar Trin? She'd caused trouble again. But this wasn't the time for self-blame. She needed to ensure their safe escape. Lingering would attract more ghost soldiers or underworld enforcers, heightening the danger. She hadn't anticipated this calamity stemmed from her oversight. One worm must have slipped away during Bar Trin's exorcism, now seeking revenge. Though restricted by Tuang Village's underworld limits, Cao Xie remained unafraid. Raising a hand to shield Lu Ti, he said, "Don't be scared. Step back a bit so I can handle these worms." To stay with Lu Ti, he discarded his prior cultivation, restarting as a 5 elements ghost. Now a first element ghost. He controlled only earth, while these worms feared fire most. He'd noticed graves scattered along the mountainsides. He'd borrow ghost fire from the wandering spirits there, though it'd drain his spiritual energy and damage his corpse ghost form. Protecting Lu Ti mattered more. Raising both hands skyward, he touched his forehead, muttering, "Borrow fire." With a flick, sparks ignited at his fingertips. Flickering ghost fires called will-o-wisps by mortals flared toward the worms. A stench of burning and their shrill cries echoed through the pass. A haunting chorus like 100 ghosts wailing in the forest. Cao Xie pressed his advantage, his blazing hand forming claws that stabbed at the ancestor worm's head. Unfazed, it spewed a miasmic fog, disrupting the ghost fire and stalling him for seconds. That brief pause was enough. Too close now. The ancestor worm plunged its forelimbs into him. Foul, necrotic energy surged forth. Cao Xie barely blocked it, his arm reeling from the dark force. Enraged, he snarled, "Cunning filth." Casting a spell, he summoned earth and stone to encase the worm, startling it, pinning it. He drew a peachwood branch and struck relentlessly. Its flesh tore, splattering chunks everywhere. In pain fury, it trembled, shrieking piercingly. Black smoke erupted from its mouth. Cao Xie, recognizing it, retreated. Corpse will. That wretched thing. Corpse will was a consciousness born from a dead body, while the soul crossed over. The flesh could develop its own sentience during corpse transformation. This will emerge, now coiling around Cao Xie, tightening. The ancestor worm opened its maw, intent on swallowing him. Dragged near, Cao Xie jammed the peachwood into its jaws. He invoked his ghost art. First element ghost awakens the uncanny. The earth on the worm hardened instantly, encasing it alive. It roared in agony, snapping its jaws. Cao Xie pried them apart. Its bloodied, blackened mouth poised to devour him. He struck the branch again, piercing its flesh. Earth surged into the wound, filling its belly. With a final anguished howl, it faltered. Cao Xie withdrew, keeping distance, unable to defeat him. The ancestor worm bellowed, summoning ghost soldiers. Fog rose behind Lu Ti, dissipating to reveal them. Their leader, seeing the dying ancestor worm, pointed furiously at Cao Xie, "Bold ghost. You dare harm the worm deity's servant." Exhausted from the fight, Cao Xie's earth-formed corpse ghost body crumbled under the earlier fire's heat. He chanted to hold it together, refusing to revert to a mere soul. You're both done for today. Surrender and face the underworld's mercy. Or else. Cao Xie smirked that only a fool would trust them. Clutching Lu Ti's hand, he asked, "Do you trust me?" Lu Ti knew the stakes were dire. Cao Xie couldn't fend off these soldiers alone. They wielded a soul-locking iron net, one she'd encountered at the market, capable of trapping humans, ghosts, demons, or spirits with no escape. Smiling calmly, unafraid, she looked at him. "Married to you this life. I trust you utterly. I'll live or die by your side." Cao Xie nodded, emotions swirling. For the first time, someone showed him such unwavering loyalty. He smiled. "Don't fear, I'll keep you safe." The lead soldier, incensed by their defiance, barked, "Seize them. This soul-locking net even gods can't escape, let alone you vermin." As the net closed in, forcing them toward the cliff's edge, it nearly ensnared Lu Ti. Cao Xie yanked her behind him, and in that instant, both lost balance and plummeted off the cliff. The mountain wind roared, deafening Lu Ti. She faintly heard the soldiers' furious shouts above, "Damn it! They escaped again." She thought she'd die here. Her body shattered. Becoming a wandering ghost, could she still stay with Cao Xie? Sensing her thoughts, he said, "I told you I won't let you die." Pushing her upward, he enveloped her with his body. If his corpse ghost form shattered, he'd lose all cultivation. But it was his best shot to shield her. Lu Ti panicked, struggling. "No. Don't. It'll endanger you. I can die and still cultivate as a ghost to be with you." Ignoring her, he focused his will, hardening the earth into a protective shield around her. Boom! Neither expected a small river below the cliff. Its icy water jolted Lu Ti awake as Cao Xie's corpse ghost form dissolved into mud, slipping through her grasp despite her desperate reach, melting into the current. Chapter 33. Cow. Cow. Where are you? Fortunately, Lu Ti could swim. She paddled on the surface, calling Ho Nam's name in a panic. Using his last shred of will, Ho Nam formed a small clay bead that landed on her head, weakly saying, "Get to shore fast, this is the Vol.4 River. Too much yin energy here could kill you." The Vol.4 River. Lu Ti had read of it in the Ho family's bark Thursday. She thought it a myth legend that souls who drank Meng Po's broth yet couldn't forget their loved ones had to submerge in this river for 7 days and nights to shed all worldly attachments, allowing them to reincarnate peacefully into the 6 realms. The river wasn't deep or wide. Lu Ti swam ashore quickly. A forest bordered it, but she dared not venture deep. Ho Nam was weakened, defenseless, and vulnerable now. Soaked in energy, Lu Ti huddled against a small tree at the forest's edge, her drenched dress clinging to her. She dried her hands by blowing on them, cradling the clay bead Ho Nam had become. She called him several times with no reply, but sensed his fading aura within him was likely absorbing spiritual energy to heal. She stopped calling, silently holding him close. She avoided lighting a fire to warm herself or dry her clothes, fearing it'd harm him further. Ba Xie had said earth feared water and fire. Most water softened it. Fire reduced it to ash. Yet today, for her sake, he'd endured both, ruining his corpse ghost form. Lu Ti stayed awake, guarding him against the forest's beasts and spirits. As the clay bead melted in her hands, dread gripped her. Then, his faint voice emerged, "Make me an effigy. Anything will do so I can shelter in it to recover." Lu Ti nodded, "Yes. Stay here and wait. I'll be quick." She plucked a green leaf, placed him inside, and set it on the ground, drawing a protective circle around it to shield him from yin entities. Only then did she enter the forest to gather materials. Her steps were hurried, not daring to waste a second. She recalled ghosts feared sunlight, though this remote forest blocked most rays. If day broke without a shelter for him, the sun's heat could destroy him. Marking her path with river pebbles to avoid being led astray by spirits, she searched. At the Trin estate, Honan had taught her to craft effigies with clothes and pigskin. But in this dark forest, where could she find thread, needles, or animal blood? It was around 4 a.m., she had until 6 a.m. to finish. After wandering fruitlessly, spotting no living creatures, she noticed the deepening yin energy. "Young lady, want to escape? I'll guide you," a man suddenly said, appearing beside her, his arm draping over her left shoulder. Lu Ti flinched. Shoving him off, humans bore 2 protective flames on their shoulders, warding off possession or soul theft. A stranger's touch could extinguish them, weakening her further. No need. She recognized him as a wandering soul, lost and unable to ascend. Likely dead in this forest. Since he hadn't harmed her, she ignored him, continuing her search. Thwarted, the soul huffed and vanished, realizing deeper exploration was futile. An idea struck her: use branches for the effigy's frame, dry leaves for its body, bound with vines, and her own blood to guide his soul. It could save Honan. Excited, she gathered dry branches, careful not to disturb the ancient trees, centuries old and possibly housing spirits or demons. Before taking anything, she clasped her hands and prayed, "Forest deity, please permit me to borrow some of your bounty." With materials in hand, she followed her pebble trail back. Some were cracked, likely spirits trying to shift them, luring her to a swamp or waterfall. Thankfully, her earlier chant had anchored them, emerging as dawn neared. The forest's gloom had skewed her sense of time, delaying her. The protective circle remained intact. She called, "Cow. How are you?" A faint glow from the bead reassured her. Sitting, she swiftly crafted the effigy. 2 branches formed a cross, secured with vines, then layered with leaves, each dabbling with a drop of her index finger's blood. She tied it tightly with more vines. Satisfied with its sturdiness, she shook the bead. "It's nearly dawn, get in here." Cow. Hearing her, Honan's soul shattered the bead, becoming a red light that entered the leaf effigy. Lu Ti sighed in relief, but knew it wasn't time to relax. The ghost soldiers couldn't act by day, but if she didn't escape by nightfall, danger loomed. Her earlier forest probe revealed its vastness. Venturing deeper to find an exit risked getting lost. Gazing at the river, she reasoned water flowed downward, not up. Following it downstream might lead out. Cow. Heal safely this time. I'll protect you home. Whispering to the effigy, she traced the river's flow. Her hunch proved right. Downstream, trees thinned, the water cleared, revealing the riverbed. The sky brightened with sunlight. Her throat parched. Stomach growled. But she pressed on before pausing to drink. At midday, with the sun overhead, she scooped river water, delighting in playful fish nibbling at her fingers. Despite her trials, Luti felt no fatigue, only thirst and hunger. Perhaps her near-death experiences had toughened her. Staring at the fish, a hallucination seized her. She snatched one, nearly devouring it raw. Its fishy scent thrilling her as something primal surged within. Luti! Stop! Honan's shout snapped her awake. She released the fish, clutching her head in confusion. Why had she acted like a bloodthirsty demon? I'll need time to heal. It's fine. I'll stay by you. Heed my warning, never eat raw things. Understand? His words baffled her. Had yin energy or evil tainted her? She didn't press him, knowing he needed recovery. Deciding to reach the Ho estate soon to investigate herself, she marched on without stopping. The Vongguan rivers downstream fed into a river behind Baksun village. By dusk, Luti reached her familiar hamlet. The estate's servants found it odd for her alone. Clothes muddied. No carriage, but none dared gossip aloud. Only whispering inwardly. "Mistress, you're back." Konchan ran to her, overjoyed, but worried at her soiled attire. "Are you all right? What happened?" Luti shook her head. "I'm fine. Prepare hot water for me to bathe." It was the 15th mid-autumn. The Ho estate glowed with red lanterns and candles. Nam Vien included. Freshly bathed, Bar Bitch approached, bowing. "Mistress, it's the 15th. Bar Long orders all masters and mistresses to the main house for mid-autumn." "All right. I'll go now." Physically fine but mentally drained, Luti longed to sleep. But Bar Ca's command was absolute. She followed Bar Bitch to the main house, where Bar Ca, Cao Bar, Ha Chi, and Bao Tu awaited. After the Realgar incident, Ha Chi, once scared witless by Honan, avoided Luti's gaze like she was a ghost. Bar Ca sat above, while Bao Tu approached warmly. "Mistress Ca's here. Everyone's been waiting. Mother prepared this feast herself to welcome you back." Luti eyed the table. Raw dishes, even-lived frogs skewered, legs twitching. Her blood surged, breathing quickened, and she reached for a frog, craving to bite into it. Chapter 34. The frog's pungent smell ignited something in Luti, an intoxicating force pulling her in, stripping her of self-control, digging her nails into her palm. The sharp pain jolted her senses awake. With a quick smile at Bao Tu, she said lightly, "Why's everything raw? What if it upsets my stomach? I just recovered from a hex not long ago. Gotta take care of my health." Turning to Bar Ca, she added, "Mother likes frog meat. Let me have Konchan make stir-fried frog with lemongrass and chili or frog porridge for you." Bar Ca gave a cryptic smile, pausing before replying, "No need. Quantrin sent the ancient bark Dan would. You did well this time. Sit and eat." With a wave, servants cleared the raw dishes, replacing them with a traditional feast: sticky rice, boiled chicken, savory stir-fries, and vegetable soup, all cooked. The Ho family's hierarchy was strict, with wives and concubines distinct. Only Luti, the main wife, dined with Bar Ca. Vol.4, though present, stood serving bar ca and blue tea first, eating only afterward. After the earlier incident, Blue Tea had no appetite. She nibbled politely before excusing herself. "I've been tired lately. May I return to Nam Vn? Mother. You. Cowbar. And the others enjoy your meal." That night, Blue Tea slept fitfully, drifting off only at 2 a.m. in a haze. Her mind felt puppeted. When awareness returned, her hands gripped a stranger's throat, her mouth thick with blood's foul taste. The girl was dead, drained dry by Blue Tea. Her skin shriveled, eyes bulging from their sockets. The blood's scent drove Blue Tea wild, tearing into the girl's heart, liver, and lungs, devouring them ravenously. By noon the next day, Konchan entered to wake her. Blue Tea rose, exhausted, as if she'd roamed all night. "Konchan?" concerned, asked, "Mistress, are you feverish? I'll cook some soothing porridge and your face is all flushed." Blue Tea touched her forehead with no fever. She waved it off. "No fever. Just hungry? What time is it?" "It's 11. Mistress." Konchan replied honestly. Blue Tea was stunned. She'd never slept so late. Calming herself, she reasoned her recent exertions had weakened her, needing rest to recover. "Next time I oversleep, wake me. Okay?" "Yes, mistress." Konchan nodded. She poured Blue Tea a cool cup of water, easing her heat, thanking her. Blue Tea heard commotion outside and asked, "What's happening in the estate?" "Not the estate, mistress, in the village. They're gossiping about a blood-sucking demon killing someone last night." Blue Tea's heart pounded. "Tell me more." "Last night at Barley's rice shop. Her daughter, who grinds rice by the well behind the house late at night, was found dead this morning. Barley went to fetch water and saw her all shriveled up. Guts ripped out, heart, liver, lungs gone. I didn't see it myself, but they say it's gruesome. Barley fainted from fright." "Mistress." Blue Tea froze, recalling her vivid nightmare too real to dismiss. She shook her head, refusing to believe she'd kill or commit such a heinous act. Konchan, oblivious to her turmoil, chirped, "You must be starving. Let me set up lunch." Blue Tea nodded. Before leaving, Konchan added, "Hee. Mistress, you're getting prettier. Overnight, your skin's smoother, glowing." Oddly, the compliment unsettled her. She brushed it off, urging Konchan to hurry with the meal. Alone, she flipped her blanket. Beneath lay a dried blood stain. Human blood on her bed. Whose? The scent, though faint, was like a drug to her. Thankfully dry, it didn't overwhelm her. Before Konchan returned, she burned the blanket and mat. Lunch tasted bitter. She ate little, unsure what plagued her. Afterward, she crafted exorcism talismans to ward off spirits and tested herself with raw food. The talismans failed. Her craving persisted. Reflecting, she traced her raw food obsession to her return from the vampire village. Cooked meat had since tasted bland. Recalling the vampire leader's curse, its breath on her, she'd ignored it then. Feeling fine now, dread crept in. Had she been infected with vampirism? Rushing to the Tang Thursday library, she scoured vampire lore all afternoon, uncovering truths beyond village tales or the blind woman's stories. Vampires weren't mere monsters but a distinct species, living and eating like humans except on the 1st and 15th of each month, when the full moon peaked. Then, they hunted raw, foul things like frogs, snakes, even humans. The thirstier they grew, the more they sought higher-grade blood, humans being the finest prey. A powerful human mage had once crippled their clan, forcing their leader to vow never to harm humans again, lest the tribe face extinction. Thus, they retreated to northern mountains, where villagers saw them snatch snakes or frogs by streams or, in desperation, steal placentas or drain infants' energy, never daring direct harm. Luti flipped through a page on vampires post-human feeding. Reading it, she went numb, dropping the book. It stated, after drinking human blood, a vampire's skin reddens from excess red blood cells, fading in a day. Their powers sharpen, cultivation accelerates, and they grow strikingly beautiful. Skin radiant. Konchan's words echoed her flushed face at waking. No fever, and newfound beauty overnight. Her fists clenched, sweating, panic rising. Was she a bloodthirsty vampire now? Sister-in-law. What's wrong? Kalbar, appearing unnoticed, picked up the book. Concerned, Luti blurted, "Do I look prettier than yesterday?" Kalbar laughed, but her grave expression sobered him. Sensing her seriousness, he replied, "You're always beautiful, sister-in-law." Realizing her impropriety and past misunderstandings, she bowed, "Sorry, Kalbar. That was rude. Ignore my nonsense." "No. I should apologize before Hachi nearly harmed you. I haven't visited her room in a week." Luti cut in. Earnestly, "Marriage is fate. Kalbar, cherish your wife. I'm your brother's wife. Your sister-in-law." He frowned, defiant, "But he's dead. Growing up, he gave me everything I wanted. If I beg mother, you won't be my sister-in-law, you'll be." Before he finished, Luti slapped him, pointing furiously, "You're spoiled rotten. Do you know what your brother endured for you? Why should he yield everything just because you're younger? I'm your sister-in-law? Drop that thought. Poor Hachi. Stuck with a fickle husband like you." Kalbar grabbed her chin. "Isn't it his fault? He borrowed my body. I remember everything you talked about. Your kindness to him." Stunned, Luti hadn't known Kalbar recalled that Knight Honam used his body to assault her. Already reeling from the vampire issue, she shoved him away, gritting, "I'm still your sister-in-law, remember that. We're truly sorry for that night." Grabbing the book, she fled Tang Thursday. To confirm her fears, she headed to Ba Li's house. Villagers crowded the gate, buzzing with gossip. Inside, officials cordoned off the crime scene, using the Ho family name. Luti entered, reaching the garden well, lifting the white cloth. She recoiled. The dead girl's face matched her dream victim. Wounds identical to her actions. Panicked, she stumbled back, hitting the well's edge, nearly falling in. Chapter 35. Careful. This well is deep. Luckily, someone caught Luti in time. Turning, she saw a young man in official robes, marking his status. Handsome, with an extraordinary aura. His background was clearly significant. Before she could speak, he exclaimed in shock, Lu Nian. Lu Nian. Lu Ti shook her head. Smiling, you've mistaken me. I'm not the Lu Nian you mean, just share the surname. I'm Lu Ti. The man squinted, studying the beautiful girl before him. After a moment, he stepped back, clasping his hands. My apologies. You're Lu Ti. You look so much like my fiancée. On closer look, your eyes differ, and your temperaments are worlds apart. She's gentler, you've got a wild streak. Lu Ti wasn't sure if it was praise or criticism. Comparing her to his fiancée, how absurd. Still, he'd helped her, so she returned the gesture. Thanks for catching me, he laughed heartily. No trouble. I'm Li Wenvu, an imperial envoy. Passing through? I stopped to investigate this murder. A bloody scene like this isn't for a girl like you. Appreciating his kindness, she replied, I understand. Have you found the killer yet? Li Wenvu stared at her, stroking his chin. Hey now. If you didn't look so decent, I'd suspect you were the murderer. Back to grab something you forgot. Seeing her silence, he thought she was offended and quickly added, haha. Don't take it seriously, you look nervous. Just teasing. I admire brave girls like you. You really don't suspect me. What if I am the killer? Oddly, though it was their first meeting, Li Wenvu felt an inexplicable familiarity with Lu Ti, like they'd known each other forever. Perhaps her resemblance to Lu Nian. Her clear, bright eyes only deepened his conviction she couldn't be a murderer. Don't talk nonsense. Haven't you heard a frog dies by its mouth? Fine. Great envoy. You win, I surrender. Her boldness intrigued him. Raised among refined capital ladies, all meek and gentle, he'd never met a girl like her, undaunted by corpses. Hardly feminine at all. No suspect yet, no clues either. Do you notice anything? Lu Ti saw heavy, grudge aura on the corpse. But the girl's soul was missing. She said, there's scratches on her neck, nail marks. Likely a woman did it. Human or ghost? I can't say. Bidding Li Wenvu farewell, she returned to the Ho estate. As she left, he called out they'd meet again soon. She thought it a jest, but shortly after, Barcier summoned her to host an imperial envoy staying at the Ho estate temporarily. Barcier stressed he was royalty and treated him well. In public, Li Wenvu acted unfamiliar, saying politely, you're the headmistress of the Ho family. I'm Li Wenvu. Staying here a while. Hope you'll look after me. Lu Ti nodded, I'm Lu Ti, headmistress here. Rest assured, the Ho family will host you warmly. The Ho estate had a guest wing, but Lu Ti didn't assign him the grandest room, guessing his free-spirited nature preferred simplicity over ostentation. She chose one by the lake for peace and quiet. Could the headmistress guide me there? She agreed. Leading the way, servants had cleaned the room ahead, leaving just the two of them. For some reason, Barley's family refused further investigation. They claimed the body would rot without quick burial, and their daughter wouldn't rest, so I couldn't push it. Lu Ti was stunned. Their daughter died horribly, yet they halted the probe. Was something hidden? That midnight, she sneaked to Barley's house. The moon glowed a pale, eerie silver, not its usual brilliance. The girl's body lay in a coffin, the home steeped in mourning. The well was cleaned, though dried blood lingered. Luti sought the girl's soul within 49 days. Unascended spirits often lingered near their bodies or death sites. Yet, after waiting, no soul appeared. At the third watch, with Barley's household asleep, Luti crept into the shrine hall. The coffin lid bore pry marks. Pushing it open, she found only empty yellow burial robes. The corpse was gone. Taking a small bell, she shook it, chanting, "If you're wronged, wise in life and spirited in death, appear and speak, I'll help you find justice." A cold gust scattered gold and silver paper across the shrine. But after 7 rings, the girl's soul didn't emerge. Suddenly, a putrid stench filled the air. Before she could react, a hand gripped her throat, grabbing prepared lime powder from her pouch. She flung it behind her. The corpse shrieked, releasing her. Corpse possession. Slapping a pre-made talisman on the body, it froze, drained of vitality, standing rigid but not falling. A raggedly clad soul leapt out. "You're not her." Luti deduced it was a wandering hungry ghost, likely drawn in when a black cat crossed the coffin by day, sparking a charge it used to possess the body for feeding. Barely 10. It cowered at her magic. She smiled, "Don't fear, famine's killed many lately. I won't hurt you. Wait outside, I'll finish here. Feed you. And burn offerings for your journey to the underworld." The ghost nodded joyfully, floating out, alone with the corpse. Luti saw, by moonlight, its eyes, nose, mouth, and ears sewn shut. A golden nail in its skull, a ritual to trap the soul. Explaining her failed summons. Noises roused Barley, who entered with an oil lamp. Muttering, "N? Is that you? Don't scare me." Hiding behind the door, Luti watched. Ah! Ghost. Vengeful ghost. Seeing her daughter's corpse upright, Barley dropped the lamp. Clasping her hands, "Don't hate me. And I didn't harm you. Blame your thin fate, not a son to carry our line. You're dead, go ascend. Don't haunt me. Next life, I'll repay you as a beast of burden." Luti nudged the door to spook her. Barley collapsed, wailing, "You resent me sewing your 7 orifices and nailing your head. You're dead. Bring us wealth instead. Bless me with a son for our lineage." Luti frowned, and this case grew murkier. Barley didn't kill her daughter. Someone else did. Covering her nose, she deepened her voice, echoing distantly, "You've wronged me so cruelly. Who told you to do this?" Terrified, Barley kowtowed before the corpse, "I don't know. Among the villagers here today, someone said sewing your orifices and nailing a golden spike would bring us fortune and the sun. I just followed them, and forgive me. I'll burn heaps of offerings." The killer's trail broke here. But Luti